All right, hello, hello all. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. We're back on Chaos Child. I think this will be the last stream in a row that we do this for. We'll see. Because I think Lemur's supposed to be back on Thursday. But for tonight, you've just got me. So, things are heating up. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's go into our recap. So, let's see. Hinaya dropped in on the newspaper club, and Nono is going to help us with the case. We figured out that our psychic powers only work when they can be observed, and determined that everyone's psychic power is defined by their wishes. So we need to figure out what wish could give Senni fire powers, who her accomplices might be, if she only has that power, and why she's attacking us, / why the new generation madness is being emulated. Hinaya confirmed that Mio hates all of us. We had no choice but to positively fantasize about throwing a can and giving Ito a panty shot we missed out on when he asked us questions about our powers, which led to more fan service shenanigans that got us reprimanded. I tried so hard in that scene and eventually had to give up. The autopsy is still stumped, but Mio wants to check our brain for answers, and Uki wants to go back to the hospital. We return to Alba, where Yui cried because she missed us. Yui also says Uki used to be in her class and looks exactly the same from when we rescued her from Frisia and brought her to the dorm. She used to work with a friend after the doctors left until she passed her clothes down. Mio showed up to chew us out about it, and we almost killed her with our powers until the girls split us up. Ito told us all to go see a doctor. Shinjo confirmed Senni is the girl hunting us despite being reported dead. The white light might have given the Gigalomaniacs their powers, and there might have been a tectonic machine involved, but mostly we're just kind of realizing that this whole game is basically Big Order. We'll see how it goes. Considering the fact that there's been this many twists so far, I don't know exactly whether or not we actually know what's going on, but let's get into it. See how crazy it's gonna get tonight. All right. After that, Kunosato began to mumble to herself as she started to look at our data on Dad's PC. There was a different look in her eyes than any I'd ever seen before. To be honest, she looked a little crazy. It wasn't like a mad scientist. It was as if she was concealing some dark obsession. I'd seen these eyes somewhere before. Where was it? Oh. I remembered and shivered. That pyrokinetic. That girl who might be Senni Minamizawa. They looked just like her eyes. They were the eyes of someone bent on revenge and consumed by hatred and rage. The Shibuya earthquake and the strange light, and the relationship they had with our powers. I rolled around in my bed thinking about everything that had happened. And then I thought back to the crazy look in Kunosato's eyes. She looked just like the pyrokinetic. Revenge, huh? Did Senni Minamizawa hate me for what I'd done that day? Did she still hate me even now? That's crazy. I was just a little kid. There's no way she'd still be mad about something that happened so long ago. I tried to say it aloud to convince myself. But that pyrokinetic wasn't behaving like a normal person. It was hard to think she was sane. She was a beast, an animal without a conscience that was stalking the streets of Shibuya with bared fangs. At least, that's how she had seemed to me. And the terrifying words she'd said when she saw me? She looked at me and she said, "I found you." Did I end up putting my life at risk and not even realize it? The more I thought about it, the more my blood began to run cold. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would have just listened to Kurisu to begin with. Oh, wait, why am I acting so wimpy? I sat up on the bed. That's right, I had my power. Even if that woman was Senni Minamizawa, and she was trying to kill me out of revenge, I wouldn't just sit there and let her. But what if she attacked me when I was with Kurisu? And what if things got so dangerous that I couldn't protect my own life, or Kurisu's, without killing her? Could I kill Senni Minamizawa right in front of Kurisu? I mean, I feel like we need to ask the question, could we kill Senni Minamizawa full stop? But, okay. I almost leapt up at the sudden noise. The sound was coming from my new smartphone. That is an awful ringtone, let me just say. I'd finally gotten a new one before I went to the hospital today. I'd totally forgotten. I remembered how Ito had gotten a call from my own phone after I'd lost it and hesitated a little. I looked at the screen, trembling. Caller, Serika Onoe. Oh, it's just Onoe. Exactly. Like, I mean, true, never underestimate humanity's ability to hold a grudge for petty reasons, but also, like, she was also like 10, so she was also just a little kid, and I feel like, she's had a lot of time to think over this and have this petty grudge for that long. It's not really a petty grudge, she was being tortured, so... I mean, we were ready to murder Mio, but I don't know. Like, I feel like actually doing it is different from just kind of like thinking about it. Or at least I hope so, because occasionally I want to murder some of my coworkers. Hello?
Oh, Taka? Hey!
What's up?
Are you in a bad mood? Did something happen at your exam?
No, that's not it.
You can't fool me, okay? Whenever your voice is like that, you're worried about something.
Evidently, it wasn't just Kurisu and Narimura who could tell when I was lying.
So, what is it?
Oh yeah, like, super impressionable and informative years, like, and she saw us and we did not help her. Like, yes, we were also just a kid, but we didn't help her in her time of need. So I sort of feel like her grudge is, like, on the outside it's ridiculous, but internally, I feel like she's got a reason to hate us. I wasn't sure if I should tell her, but it was Serika I was talking to after all. I told her everything I'd been thinking about.
A white light?
I was with you then, wasn't I? Do you remember anything?
Well, I was out cold, so I didn't see it. Remember, you carried me to the hospital.
Oh, that's right. I could still remember how Serika felt when I'd carried her on my back. Until then, I hadn't really treated her differently than any other boy. But at some point, she'd started to grow into a woman. I kind of wonder, like, our telekinesis, like, I know that we connected it to our recovery, but if we carried Serika to the hospital, like, I kind of wonder if that wasn't what created it. I'm assuming that we were also not very sporty back then, so... When I carried her on my back, I was surprised. That was what a girl felt like.
Sorry about making you do that. Thanks.
Why bring that up now? You know we're friends.
It's nice to have an old friend, isn't it?
Serika sounded happy, but the tone of her voice quickly dropped.
Oh, but that girl who's Non's old friend is causing you a lot of problems right now, isn't she?
You be careful, too. I wasn't the only one who saw Sydney Minamisawa down there.
It'll be fine. I'm sure you'll protect me.
Huh?
Huh? Are you not planning on protecting me?
No, that's not it. Just... I fell silent, but I could tell that Serika was nodding to herself on the other side of the phone.
Oh, I see. So that's why you're not sure what to do.
And then, even though I hadn't said anything, she seemed to realize my problem. Could I kill someone if it meant saving with someone? Hey, we were on the same track for some... Maybe I'm a right-sider. Yeah, like... As kids, we hold petty grudges. Like, it's not super out there. So, you know, I feel like... It's not that weird to think that she would have a grudge for the fact that we didn't save her. What is a little bit more weird is, do we look exactly like we did when we were like 10? Like, how did she know it was us? Anyways,
But, you know, Taka. I think that even if it were her best friend, no one would kill them without a second thought if she had to do it to protect you.
Oh.
Of course I would too. I'd do anything for you. And I don't think I'd lose to anyone, ever.
Onoe.
What about you, Taka?
Maybe she was right. Kurisu would probably kill her friend if it was the only way to protect us. But I can't let Kurisu do that. If that woman really was sending Minamisawa, it wasn't Kurisu who needed to do it. I love how I don't know if we've forgotten that Sending Minamisawa has fire powers, we think that Senni wouldn't use them against Kurisu, or we just think that Kurisu would fight a woman with fire powers without a second thought. But I like all three of them. Yeah.
I see. You won't die for me, but you'll kill for Nono, huh?
Yeah. We have two potential yandere candidates. It was me, right? That's right. That was the way to overcome my past trauma, too.
Oh, but today's the 18th, right?
Why is that important? Following Serika's conversations was as impossible as ever.
Oh, I was just thinking that the next murder won't be for a while.
It won't? I looked at the calendar and then realized, the next is the 23rd, huh? If these killings were following the New Generation Madness, the next murder would be on the 23rd. After that would be Yummy Hand on October 28th and DQN Puzzle on the 4th of November. If we could get through the 23rd, we'd be safe for a while.
Yep, so we may be safe until then.
But that means we'll just have to spend the whole day running on the 23rd.
Then let's all stay together that day. Even if she hates you, I don't think she can just show up when we're all together.
I see. That might be our only plan, yeah. If we could avoid the murderer that way, we'd win.
We could have everyone in the club help and go to some place that's open all night. Or if Dr. Sakuma says it's okay, we could stay at Alba Dorm.
Onoi, you're smarter than you look.
Huh? That's a big compliment.
No, it's not. It's not a compliment at all. But whenever I was in trouble or worried about something, Serika had always been there to listen. Yes, because she's best girl. I don't think Senni is going to be in love with us, particularly because she saw us for a whole 5 seconds. And I can't imagine we're ever going to have a long conversation with her, but I could be wrong. She was one of the few people who really understood me. Of course, I was too embarrassed to tell her that, and I had no plans to ever do so.
Okay, Taku. Good night. Sweet dreams.
Yeah, good night. I hung up and then looked at the calendar on the wall again. October 23rd. What's the killer going to do? Is it really some kind of message? And am I really the target? Or... Just like we'd expected, nothing happened over the next few days. There was no sign of that woman and no new arson cases, which meant no news about the case. For my part, I was trying to figure out how to use my power to protect everyone instead of just screwing around like I had before. And then the day was upon us.
So, nothing's happened so far, right?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad, Miyashiro? It's all because I'm hanging out with you. You can thank me by buying me a mango fruit parfait at Senzokuya, right?
What are you talking about? They might be after you, too.
Ah, cheapskate! Listen, everyone, it's too early to let your guard down. This is where things start to get tough.
Nothing had happened during school. We'd made sure that nobody was alone during break periods, and it had paid off. What is it, Yamazoe?
Is it okay for me to be here? I'm not a student.
Mango fruit parfait does not sound awesome to me because I'm allergic to mangoes. So, I could go for like a strawberry fruit parfait though. That sounds amazing. Exactly, hooray for the buddy system. Today is special. You're a psychic too, so they might come after you.
That's right. Make sure you stay with us today until today is over, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Uki had seemed uncomfortable in this new environment all day. So, what do we do now?
People are starting to leave, so we should probably go somewhere else.
Let's go to someplace in Shibuya that's open late. You guys don't mind coming with me, right?
Oh, fine. But you're paying.
Arimura, I might pay for the others, but you and I are going Dutch.
What? You're mean. A demon. A devil.
Call me whatever you want.
So, where do we go?
Karaoke, maybe? I'd rather go someplace cheap.
So the usual place then.
Just gonna go hang out at the hospital for a bit. Or Cafe Lax.
Welcome! welcome. Take your time. Thanks. You folks, huh? Sit wherever you like.
Yeah, get dumped, Arimura. I mean, I can't fault her for trying. Like, it was an attempt. We chose a seat by the window with a good view. Cafe Lax took over a whole floor of a classy two-story business building near Shibuya's residential district. With a window seat, we could see all around the building, and we'd spot that pyrokinetic, sending Minamisawa, if that's who she was, immediately.
We can stay here till they close, huh? We need to order a lot then. Excuse me.
Just saying this once more, Arimura. You're paying for yourself.
Aw. Are you ready to order? I'm busy, so make it quick. Ma'am, if you're busy, I can help around the store. Ah!
Come on, Yamazoe. Customers don't have to help the staff. Actually, you're not allowed.
I'm not?
You're not.
Okay, I'll take everything from here to here.
Arimura, don't try to order the whole menu when I'm not looking. I'm not paying for your bill.
Aw.
Again, can't fault her for trying.
Ah.
Oh no, what's wrong?
The cream from the cream puff I just ate got in my hair.
How could she pull that off with hair that length?
Ah. Hana, that's a big yawn.
You too, Ito. Come on, man, stay sharp.
And it's bad manners, too. I can't help it. We've been here for hours, just killing time.
We'd been at Cafe Lax for 4 hours already. At first, everyone had been tense and alert, but it seemed we were starting to hit our limits. Arimura and I seemed to be relaxing a little. If we were alone, we would have been afraid, but now we were surrounded by our friends. I'd like to point out, we spent like 3 hours in the bathroom with Serika and didn't get bored somehow. We were just worried about needing to pee. I don't know how in a cafe we only lasted 1 more hour. And if you added in the waitress and the other customers, there were even more people in here now. I couldn't imagine someone just barging in and attacking.
Hey, you people!
The waitress had walked over at some point while I was looking out the window and was standing next to me.
How many hours are you planning on staying here? If you're not going to order more... oh, we will. We'll order. Give me a menu.
I guess we had to order extra after all. It was only natural, but it was putting a big dent in my budget for the month.
Here, have a menu.
Yeah, that's true. Like, introvert, but also, like, Arimura is very draining. I feel like Shinji can get a little draining. No. Like, we don't have to do much with Serika, just in general.
Thanks, Taka. What do you want?
Serika took the menu and handed it to me. Let me see. Something cheap. As I flipped through the menu, I saw... That's... Uh-oh. That's a sumo sticker. That's not good. I felt horribly dizzy and my eyes started to go blurry. I felt bad. It hurt to breathe. It's the same as that night. The 11th Rorschach, which had tortured Arimura and I on the night we were attacked by the pyrokinetic, was right in front of me. Everything started to go dim. No, not now. Stay strong. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Uh-oh. Okay, I managed to get a hold of myself. Yeah, 3 hours in a bathroom with Serika. We didn't do anything with her other than fantasize about her laughing at us peeing. So, you know, that was somehow the positive delusion there, and I still don't fully understand it. Huh? What? Where did everybody go? That made no sense. How? Kurisu? Onoe? Ito? Where? Kazuki? Arimura? Yamazoe? They were gone. Not only my friends, but even the waitress had disappeared. Everybody was gone. This can't be happening. Hello? Is anybody there? I called out to the back of the cafe, but there was no sign that anyone was there. Damn it! What's going on? We are tripping balls right now. Huh? Th this sound. Oh no. This sound is. All the sound had disappeared from the world. The music that had been playing in the cafe was gone, and so were the sounds of the cars that sometimes passed by on the road. There was nothing but strange silence and dark gloom. I could only hear one thing, that terrifying sound. She was getting closer. The footsteps were coming up the stairs to the cafe. Shivering with fear, I forced myself to quietly open the door to the cafe and then snuck out onto the landing. Trembling, I looked down the stairs to the first floor, and there I saw... that's... Our eyes met. Our eyes met for an instant. I saw those eyes like cold fire looking up at me from beneath the hair that covered her whole face. I knew it. That's the pyrokinetic from before. Senni Minamisawa. As if she could sense my fear, Senni Minamisawa looked at me and smiled. It was the smile of a beast that had found its prey. I found you. Chapter 8, Betrayal. I gritted my teeth to keep from screaming and ran back into the cafe. I closed the door as quietly as I could. Like, how badly are we tripping balls right now? Are the others just watching us do this, or like, is this actually happening? I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm so scared. She's going to kill me. 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 Senni Minamisawa is going to kill me. Somebody... I tried to scream for help, but my voice got caught in my throat. No, even if I'd been able to yell, no one was there to help me. Kurisu was gone. Serika was gone. So were Ito, Arimura, Kazuki, and Uki. Even the waitress had disappeared. And the lighting seemed to have turned a faded yellow, too. The cafe was much darker than usual. Why? Why did everyone disappear? I was too scared to speak or do anything except slowly move backward from the door. Finally, I hit the wall and found myself with nowhere to run. Yeah, like, that is true. If we think hard enough, this may be happening, despite the fact that logically it shouldn't be happening. That's right, my power. I can use my power. I could knock her flames away again. We don't have an observer. I tried desperately to psych myself up for the fight. But why? I couldn't see it. The D-sword. The D-sword wouldn't appear. I know, of all times. No matter how much I tried to concentrate, the terror won out and the D-sword refused to appear. Past the entrance to the cafe, I could hear the loud clicking of a heel against the floor and the sound of a leg sliding along the ground. She was bringing me a merciless death. I mean, we know that another psychic can be an observer because Hinae or Arimura observed us last time against Senni, but I don't know if the person that we're trying to use it on can be it. Because remember, we had to have Kurisu there to do the whole thing with the key on when they were breaking into the hospital. So I think we need a third-party observer to be able to send it to, not just the person we're trying to influence. I could be wrong, though. No, there has to be somewhere to hide. I looked around and saw a door on the other side of the kitchen. It was the employee bathroom. I flung myself away from the wall, ripped open the door, and went inside. Then I locked the door with trembling hands. There were no windows in the bathroom. I'd run inside without even bothering to turn on the lights, so it was pitch black. In that cramped and closed space, my heart started to pound fast and my breathing became heavy. She was going to hear me. I needed to be quiet. I put my hand over my mouth to stifle the sound. It hurt to breathe, but if I couldn't be quiet, she'd find me and kill me. Senni Minamisawa's footsteps finally reached this floor, and then she stopped suddenly, and there was an eerie silence. I could almost sense somehow that she was looking for me. Just go away. Leave me alone. Yeah, I know nothing about quantum mechanics other than like past like Schrodinger's cat, to be completely honest. I love like all these games that keep using physics and stuff like that, but I am dumb and can't figure it out. I prayed, but it was a waste of time. She came inside the cafe. The footsteps started again. Slowly, slowly. She's here. The woman slowly moved around the cafe. I could hear her dragging her leg from one side of the cafe to the other, as if she was toying with me. Each time she moved, she knocked glasses and cups to the floor where they shattered. All I could do was try not to scream. I remembered all the horrible ways the other psychics had died. Don't look at me, leaking hoys, revolving dead, Gotsuan death. Was that going to happen to me too? No, I don't want to die like that. How much time passed after that? Suddenly, Senni Minamisawa's footsteps started to get farther and farther away. Huh? I couldn't tell from here, but it felt like she might be about to leave. Am I safe? I concentrated as hard as I could on listening to those eerie footsteps. I could hear a door open and close, and then that awful dragging sound again, this time going down the stairs. And soon, there was no sound at all. I panted in relief. I did it. I made it. Now I wouldn't die in the new generation med. Yeah, I was wondering whether we'd hear that knock again. I'm more scared of that knock than I am of Senni, to be 100% honest. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was so utterly unexpected that I couldn't stop myself from screaming. The knocking stopped for an instant. I could sense that someone was looking at me from the other side of the flimsy door. This can't be happening. She just went down the stairs. Yeah. If a bear poops in the woods and no one is there to smell it, with Senni Minamisawa immolate me alive. The knocking started again. It's that same knock. The same one I heard at the hotel. And slowly but steadily it continued. The interval between each knock was identical and mechanical. Knock, 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 knock. I tried to get as far away from the door as I could. But the bathroom was tiny and there was nowhere to run. Damn it. Fine, you want to fight? You can have one. Even if I can't use my power, I won't let her just kill me. I'll catch her my damned self. Could I beat a pyrokinetic with my bare hands? The thought flashed through my mind for an instant, but I didn't think I could take the terror anymore. I was at my limit. Take this! I screamed, unlocked the door, and slammed into it as hard as I could. The bathroom door opened up with a bang. Huh? Ugh. Overcome with terror, I screamed and slammed the person in front of me to the floor. But what are you doing, Takade? At the last minute, someone grabbed my head from the side. I smelled a pleasant scent that I knew well. Uh-huh.
What's gotten into you?
Kurisu? Kurisu was beside me, holding me. And,
You're heavy, Taka. You're crushing me. My insides are gonna come out.
huh? Ugh! The person I had knocked to the floor was Serika. Any more and I would have hurt her.
Wow, Miyashiro, you're so bold trying to take her first time here.
I am not. And anyway, I shook off Kurisu's arm and stood up. Where is that woman?
That woman?
Everyone looked confused. Serika stood up, rubbed her butt, and started to look around the room.
Which woman?
She was just here, the one who tried to kill me. Wait, where have you been? Huh? We've been here the whole time. Ito stood up from the stove on the window. Yamazawa and Kazuki were sitting next to him with surprised looks on their faces. Yeah.
Ooh, threesome. I'll get the camera. Hey, you folks, you're being a bit loud. Any more and I'll have to ask you to leave.
Even the waitress was here too. That's impossible. But I know I was attacked, and right in this cafe. Was that just a dream? No, that wasn't a dream. It was so real. I could still remember the sound of her leg dragging and the sound of the knocking at the door. Just thinking of them made me shiver. Is this another power Senri Minamizawa has? She made a fake Cafe Lax and trapped me in it? I thought she was just a pyrokinetic. Could she do that as well? Or maybe there's another psychic helping her? Either way, the possibility we discussed at the newspaper club meeting was right, and in a bad way.
Wait, are you okay, Takare? You're really sweating.
Kurisu took out a handkerchief from her pocket and started to gently wipe the sweat off my forehead. But suddenly her hand stopped. She looked at me, her face pale.
Takare, there's blood coming out of your eyes.
Huh? I put my hands up to my eyes, surprised. Yeah, that's probably not a good sign. When I tried to rub them, I felt something slick, and when I looked at my hands, they were bright red. I could see my blood on her handkerchief, too. Had I been so scared and tense that the blood vessels around my eyes had burst?
What happened?
Are you okay, Miyashiro? Yeah.
We need to have Dad take a look at this. Let's go, Taka.
Kurisu and Serika tried to drag me out of the cafe. I could see Ito, Arimura, Kazuki, and Uki in the corner of my eye trying to figure out what to do. I turned to them and said, Ito, Arimura, Kazuki, Yamazawa, you guys come too.
Huh? Oh, okay. Is it okay for me to come along at a time like this?
Now's not the time to worry about it. We know that they're targeting psychics. Just stay with us until the day is over. We left Cafe Lax and headed for Alba Clinic. Hi, Dad. I'm bleeding from my eyes. Yay. No problems with your eyes. Retinas look good and blood pressure is normal. Dad nodded as he looked at me. Any headaches? Numbness anywhere? Not really. No gaps in your vision? No narrowed field of view?
None.
I see. Then you're fine.
Really? Take a closer look.
Kurisu was sitting next to me, worried. You keep saying that.
But
There are blood vessels in the back of the eyelids, and once in a while they can burst, especially under great stress, excitement, or strain. Does that ring any bells, Takure? I remembered the attack at Cafe Lax and shivered, but I nodded before Dad could see. See, that's the cause, don't worry. Dad called up my chart on the computer, the same one he'd been using since I was in a coma. He started to type something. Come on, Nono, don't glare at me like that.
what if something happens to Takare?
Fine, fine. Dad stopped typing and opened another page on the chart. Takure, I'll write you a referral, so go get some more brain scans done tomorrow.
Huh? But
Just do it. I don't want my daughter getting mad and refusing to talk to me. Okay. Dad wrote me another referral to the same hospital as before, which was finally enough to satisfy Nono. Oh, right, Nono?
Hmm?
Don't forget that you're still recovering from an injury, too.
Oh, yeah. You're right, I'm sorry.
As long as you understand. Dad smiled. Kurisu and I thanked Dad and then went up to the dining room where the rest of the group was waiting.
Oh, Uki, I'll have some apple tea. Me too. All right, what about you, Ito? Coffee, black.
When we got to the dining room, Uki was running around getting drinks for everyone. I looked at the clock and it was almost 11 p.m. There was just one more hour until October 23rd was over.
So, can you tell us what happened back there, Miyashiro?
Arimura looked at me as she sipped her apple tea. She had the same joking voice she used at school, but her eyes were serious. She seemed to have come up with her own ideas on what might have happened to me, and her eyes were as gloomy as they were when we first met. I'll tell you. It's about that pyrokinetic.
Senni Minamisawa?
Yeah. I glanced at Kurisu just for a second. I thought she wouldn't want to hear that her old friend might be a serial killer. Kurisu, if this is going to upset you, go back to your room, or go be with Dad or Yui.
No, tell me.
Kurisu?
I want to hear it. That's why I'm here.
I see. Okay. I sat down in a chair at the dinner table and after a moment's hesitation, slowly began to describe what had happened to me at Cafe Lax. As I talked, the terror started to come back to me, and my hands were soon covered in a nasty sweat. I didn't want to look bad in front of everyone, but I couldn't stop my voice from shaking. And you know what happened after that? I opened the door, and outside the cafe was completely normal. There was silence for a moment after I finished. Arimura especially seemed to be lost in thought. That was, of course, because Senni Minamisawa was probably after me, her, or Uki.
I'm not letting her kill me.
She whispered in a low voice, and suddenly stuck her hand out into the air.
Huh?
Hey! Yamazoe and I moved away, surprised. Arimura had suddenly drawn her D-sword. What are you doing?
What does it look like? Getting a weapon.
A weapon?
You can summon yours too, right, Uki? If she shows up, I'm fighting. Help me. Fight? I can't. Just do it. Uh, uh.
Uki tried to shake her head no, but when Arimura glared at her threateningly, she bit her lip. And then she reached out her hand. I mean, we are a loser of a future husband. But it's, she did make the right choice. She chose us, I think. Hopefully. A giant sword appeared in her hand, too.
uh. You too, Miyashiro. Hurry.
But I don't know how to draw it.
You're useless.
I could hear how annoyed she was. It had been a long time since I'd seen her act this cold.
Hey, what's going on? What's up?
What are you talking about? The others couldn't see the D-sword. All they saw was Uki and I freaking out.
We were attacked by Senni Minamisawa once already, and today you... I can't take this anymore, so...
Arimura looked back at the sword in her hands and cackled.
I'm going to end this case myself. I'm going to kill Senni Minamisawa. Wait!
Everyone turned to look at Kurisu. She probably knew that she was getting too emotional about the situation because she was hesitating more than I'd ever seen before.
Uh, um, are we absolutely sure that Senni is the killer?
The only evidence is that ID card and what we saw, but
Her name's on the memorial. That has to be some kind of mistake. The data we found inside the hospital said she was missing, right? But I saw it myself. Senni was crushed by the rubble right in front of me.
she must have been remembering something painful. She put her hands to her chest and her nails dug in deep. But then Arimura raised her eyebrows so high that I could see it from here. Kurase,
Huh? Why are you lying? Uh-huh.
huh? Yeah. Girl, you don't lie in front of someone that can catch you. Shocked, I glanced at them from one to the other. Arimura was staring at Kurisu with suspicious eyes. But Kurisu's expression remained unchanged, to the point where it almost seemed unnatural.
What you just said was a lie.
Arimura's power let her tell when someone was lying. In other words, Kurisu was absolutely lying right now. But Kurisu looked Arimura dead in the eye as she spoke.
I'm not lying. No, you didn't see Senri Minamizawa die. I don't know how accurate that power of yours is, but she's gone. That's just what you want to believe, isn't it? Or maybe you know she's alive after all.
The two of them glared at each other.
If, just hypothetically, yes. If she survived, she couldn't kill anyone. There's no way.
Kurisu's voice took on a sorrowful note.
Senri was a very scared girl. She was so timid she couldn't kill an insect. And whenever something happened, she would start crying. That's why she was always following someone else around. Of course, she hated violence, even the sight of blood. I just can't imagine she'd kill someone. It's impossible. I guess this time you're telling the truth. That's why.
Kurisu's voice was rarely this emotional, but she must have realized that nothing she said would matter, so she fell silent.
Anyway, if Senri's not the killer, then your hypothesis is completely wrong. What if someone else is the real killer?
That's... Of course, I'd thought about that possibility. That there might be multiple killers. That there might be another psychic working with Senri Minamizawa. But even if there is, as long as we can make it to the end of the day, we win. Huh? Everyone leapt out of their chairs as we heard a scream from downstairs. Was that Yui's voice?
Yui!
Kurisu ran down the stairs. I swear to God, if Yui dies, I'm quitting this game. I think I've threatened to do that like twice now, but that's okay. We followed right after her. Yui had fallen backwards onto the ground near the front desk. Her face was pale and her jaw was chattering.
Yui, what's going on?
Yui? Are you okay? Yui! Yuto and Dad grabbed her and held her tight, but she was still shaking. The terror had completely consumed her.
What happened, Yui? Fix this? No. Get a hold of yourself.
Kurisu grabbed her by the cheeks and yelled.
I was going to go to bed, and then I went to say goodnight to Dad. Good night. Don't work too hard, Dad. Why not go to bed?
If you think I'm working too hard, go to complain to Nono. Thanks to her, I've got to do extra work.
Big sis Nono acts totally different when it comes to Brother Takare.
You got that right. Anyway, night.
Yeah, good night. And then I left the exam room to go back upstairs. And then I heard a sound from the front door. Someone knocked. I thought it might be a patient who needed help, so I answered. I'm sorry, we're closed for the day. If you really need help, I can tell you where to find a hospital that's open 24 hours. What's wrong? Should I call an ambulance? What is this? If this is a prank, please stop it right now. I said stop, please. I got really scared, but I looked outside.
Oh, she's not happy.
It's okay now. It's okay, Yui.
Kurisu rubbed her head gently, and at last the dam burst and Yui started to cry.
Big sis Nono! Big sis Nono!
Everyone looked at each other, pale, as we listened to her sob. Arimura and I, in particular, had gone as deathly white as Yui. Knocking? That was the same thing I'd heard at the cafe.
So she did follow us.
Yeah. I could feel my knees shaking. I remembered the knocking and the dragging footsteps I'd heard at the cafe, and my heart began to feel overwhelmed with terror. I felt an impulse to run screaming off into the night. But strangely enough, it was Arimura who gave in before I did. She gritted her teeth so hard I could hear it from where I was standing, and then ran towards the front entrance. Hey, Arimura!
Hina!
She yanked open the lock on the door and then flung it open. Then she ran into the street, flailing her D-sword.
Senni Minamizawa! I'm right here! Stop fucking around and come get me!
Oh, it's absolutely personal. Like, you do not... That is our little sister. You do not fuck with her. That said, she was able to open the door and then closed it. So, like, I feel like you can, what? Yui's like 14? I feel like you could probably overpower a 14-year-old. So, she kept swinging her D-sword at the shadows formed by the streetlights.
I'm done with running and I'm done hiding. If you think you can kill me, come try it.
Stop it, Arimura. What are you doing? I grabbed Arimura from behind. She'd clearly gone insane. Her D-sword hadn't been real booted yet, so it just slid right through me. If it had been, I wouldn't have survived.
No, let me go. I don't want to die.
Calm down. She's trying to make us panic. If we can't calm down, we lose.
Why did this have to happen to me? I never wanted this power. If only I didn't have it.
When I saw her, I realized that I'd been making a mistake. For a while now, I'd thought that I was starting to understand Arimura, but I was wrong. A bratty know-it-all? A normal girl who sometimes got excited and smiled a childlike smile? I was always surprised when she did, but I'd always told myself that was who she really was. But I was wrong. She was a weak little girl whose fate was caught up in events far beyond her control. That's right. If it weren't for these powers, this wouldn't have happened to any of us. No one would have been killed, and no one would have been tortured in those experiments in that basement. I hated myself for ever being proud of my powers. Why did they even exist? Who gave me these, and why? Arimura's body was shaking as I held her, and pathetically enough, I was shaking every bit as much.
Hey, Miyashiro, Arimura!
Ito ran up to us as we sat on the side of the road. Serika, Uki, and Kazuki ran after him.
Are you okay?
Yeah. We calmed down, thankfully. I lied so as not to worry them. Anyway, let's get back inside. We could be attacked at any minute. And then Ito cut me off and showed me his phone. I flinched away. It's not another phone call, is it? Ito must have guessed what I was thinking because he quickly shook his head.
No, look, Miyashiro.
Huh? I stared at the phone. It had the usual wallpaper, the usual apps. There was nothing out of the ordinary. Oh.
Did you notice?
Oh no, let me see yours.
Okay.
Serika took her phone out of her pocket and showed it to me. It showed the same thing that Ito's did. The present time and date. 12:03 a.m., October 24th. We survived! October 23rd was over. Are we saved? Arimura swung her head around and yanked the phone out of Serika's hands. Her fingers were shaking too much to read what it said. She stared at it again and again, and then... The strength drained from her tiny body as she collapsed into me. And then she passed out. October 23rd, the day of the return of the New Generation Madness. And we'd survived it. Kazuki got into her usual gaming position and stretched. She was about to start playing SO2. I chuckled as I opened the lid of my lunchbox. Everything was returning to normal. There we go. Yeah, it's Five Nights at Freddy's rules. So, you know. Too bad, Sydney. You didn't get us before midnight. Inside the lunchbox was a sandwich that Kurisu had made for me. Morning had come. It was a Saturday, but it was the one day of the month we went to school on weekends. We'd gotten some sleep at Alba dorm, then taken showers and come to school. Yui and Arimura still hadn't woken up and were staying at Alba Clinic, but neither of them seemed hurt, and Kurisu and Uki were staying home to take care of them. For my part, I'd skipped out on morning classes to stop by the brain doctor that Dad had referred me to. The results had been the same as Dad had said, no abnormalities in the blood vessels in my brain. When I told Kurisu over the phone, she sounded relieved. Now then. I wasn't feeling hungry, but I didn't want to let the sandwich go to waste. I took a little nibble of it as I stared at the board on the wall. Is this really over? Is the return of the New Generation Madness all done? The net had been in an uproar last night. No, it still was. But not because something had happened. In fact, the uproar was because nothing had happened. I checked a bunch of different places, TV, radio, and even the newspaper. But nothing had happened on the 23rd that would make you think of the New Generation Madness. There were all kinds of rumors going around on the net. This included a weird conspiracy theory that the killer had been captured, but because he was the son of a major politician, they couldn't go public with it. But most people thought that the return of the New Generation Madness was over now that nothing had happened on the 23rd. Over is net slang, often used to refer to a game, anime, or news phenomenon that has passed its prime and that no one pays attention to anymore. It's also often used to refer to things that aren't actually finished, that still have passionate fans as a form of insult or harassment. Yeah, I was promised the world would end in 2012, what the hell?
Oh, Miyashiro, you done at the hospital then?
Yeah, thanks. They say I'm fine.
Glad to hear it.
Ito and Serika were both carrying lunch boxes of their own. Kurisu had made their lunches this morning, just like she'd made mine.
Still, pretty lucky that you get to go straight to the club room and eat the minute you arrive at school.
They told me I could just go to afternoon classes. And I wanted to take some time to look at the map and think.
Huh? Shinjo told us this morning not to do anything else, right?
When we told Shinjo that there had been another attack by the person we believed to be Sendimi Namisawa, he demanded to know why we hadn't told him sooner. And then he insisted that we never do anything so dangerous again. But it doesn't hurt to think about it, does it? Yeah, I mean, kind of. Like, we evaded her twice. Once possibly in our brain, but like the second time very much so. We just got saved by possibly the time. So it very much is a swipe or no swiping kind of thing. I put the lid back on my lunch, having barely eaten any of it at all, and looked back at the map. We were at Cafe Lax last night. That's where it happened. The woman who I saw was the one who attacked us before. Sendimi Namisawa. And she was a pyrokinetic. I feel like it does this just to, like, test my understanding of the situation once a chapter. By the way, it was a different power than pyrokinesis that was used on me at Cafe Lax. She showed me a delusion of being alone. Which means that Sendimi Namisawa has two powers after all? No, we don't know yet. We can't be sure that another psychic isn't helping her.
And then the veins in your eyelids burst from the stress when you were attacked, and we all moved to Alba dorm.
Yeah. Then Dad gave me an exam, and we waited for the 23rd to end.
Hey, weren't the vice president and Arimura arguing about something? What was that about again?
Arguing?
I think I remember.
Nono said she didn't believe Senni was the killer.
That's right. Non said that Sendimi Namisawa definitely wasn't the killer.
Kurisu said she wasn't the type of girl who could do that. She knew because they were friends.
But then Arimura said, that she was lying. What did that mean?
What Arimura said was a lie was that she saw Sendai Minamisawa die in the earthquake. I remember. Kurusu said she saw Sendai Minamisawa die right in front of her, but that was a lie. In other words, Kurusu didn't see her die. I mean, does this mean then that Sendai Minamisawa has a code of honor that keeps her from killing on non-New Generation Madness days? Yeah, I'm gonna guess that, I mean, there's still technically 2 killings. She just, like, has to wait a month. Or something like that, so...
I'm sure Non didn't like the way we were treating her best friend as a serial killer. She probably just came up with a lie really quick.
Well, I can imagine how she feels. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should be more careful about bringing up Sendai Minamisawa when Kurusu is around. I stuck a paper up on the board. And the problem's what happened after that. Yeah. On the first floor of Alba Clinic, Yui...
She heard a knock at the door, right?
It was the same thing I'd heard at Cafe Lax, that woman's knock. And Yui had seen a terrifying sight. Even I was scared at the cafe. It must have been hard for Yui since she didn't know anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Fortunately, Yui didn't open the door. She'd quickly shut and locked it and saved us at the last minute. But if she'd opened the door all the way... Huh? No, wait. I looked up from the map towards the ceiling. Something seemed very wrong.
Huh? What's wrong, Taka?
Did you remember something? Serika and Ito looked at me confused. No, something's bugging me. It feels like we missed something really important. I mean, if she wanted us to come out, why didn't she just set the building on fire? Like, we'd come out then, so... What? Even Kazuki was surprised enough that she turned away from SO2 to look at me. Something important. Yeah, so much happened last night with Arimura freaking out and me panicking that I didn't notice, but... That's right. What was I thinking now? If Yui had opened the door... Of course, in all the cases we've seen so far, that means she'd end up a victim. But that also means... I looked at the map again. I've said this before, but all these cases have one thing in common. Which is... the victims. The victim in the Don't Look at Me case, for instance, he was. And then the leaky noise case. And then the victim in the revolving dead case. And lastly, the victim of the Gotsuan death, the murder that happened at the school. That's right. All the victims were psychics. No one else has been attacked. That's why Arimura, Yamazoa, and I were always so cautious. And in fact, at Cafe Lax, I was the target. But Sendai Minamisawa, when she appeared at Alba Dorm, tried to attack... Yui. Yeah.
Sending no slaughter.
That's right. Yui. I stood up in shock. That can't be right.
Does that mean Yui's a psychic too?
Are you serious? It was far too late for it to make a difference now, but I suddenly felt like a cold pillar of ice was pressed against my back. I was certain that Sendai Minamisawa had come to Alba Clinic in search of me, Arimura, or Uki, and that Yui had only been caught up in it at all because she was unlucky enough to answer the door. But what if I was wrong? What if there was a reason she was after Yui? I sighed. It was hard for me to really believe. I'm going to go see if she's really a psychic. Oh, sorry. Did I wake you?
Huh? Brother Takada, shouldn't you be at school?
I came home early because I was worried about you.
Huh? You're being silly.
Yui slowly sat up from the bed and smiled a tired smile. She must have felt dizzy for a moment because she leaned forward and grabbed her forehead. Her face was still pale and the IV looked like it was painful. It's fine. You can stay lying down.
But...
I'll tell Kurusu on you if you don't. Those were always the best words to use on Yui. She frowned for a second, but then laid down and pulled up the covers. Hmm? Where's Arimura? The other bed in the exam room was empty.
Around lunchtime, a detective named Shinjo came and they left. She said she'd be back.
Shinjo was probably asking her about last night. Is she feeling okay?
Yeah, she looked okay.
I see.
She told me to tell you thanks.
Huh? My eyes went wide as I looked at my foster sister. Arimura said thanks? You probably misheard her. Exactly. I do not care how pathetic we normally are. If Zenai touches absolutely one hair on Yui's head, we will throw hands. We will win. Like, Kurisu will throw hands and she will win. It doesn't matter that you can fucking set her on fire. But Yui is baby. Like, this is our sister. It's now personal, and I will murder anyone that is mean to her. So.
That's not true. Arimura's a good person. I think she's grateful to you.
If you didn't hear it wrong, then she must have just gone temporarily crazy. I pulled a stool up to Yui's bed and sat down. And then I watched her as she lay under the covers. It might have been the first time I'd looked at her like this, come to think of it. Did she have some kind of power? It just seemed hard to believe. Maybe I was mistaken. I hoped I was. People were saying that the killings were over and that the return of the new generation madness was at its end. But the killer still hadn't been caught. The idea of the killer being after not just me, Arimura, and Uki, but also Yui was too scary to contemplate.
Huh? What's wrong?
As I tried to figure out the best way to explain things, I heard a very uncomfortable voice. She must have noticed that I was staring at her silently. My sister was looking at me in confusion. Huh? Well.
Oh, Takara. Welcome back. It's not time for him to be back, is it?
Kurisu was standing at the door holding a tray with a bowl of rice porridge. Uki was next to her with a pair of spare pajamas. Kurisu put the tray next to the bed and looked at me concerned.
You left school early. Are you not feeling well?
No, that's not it. Something was bothering me.
Something's bothering you?
Even if Yui was a psychic, I still wasn't sure if I should tell Kurisu about it. She'd just worry more. But she cared about her sister, I knew that. It was probably better if she knew everything. What's the best way to say it? And then I remembered the method that Kunosato had used on me. I glanced at Uki. She probably wouldn't like it, but it was the only way I could think of. Hey, Yui? Oh, Arimura is not going to be our love interest, unless we change completely, is kind of the vibe I get. So, yeah, absolutely. She would absolutely do it just to annoy Nono and Serika. I know you probably don't want to remember a lot about last night, but did you see Arimura and Yamazoe holding something in their hands?
Huh?
Kurisu and Uki were shocked, too.
What do you mean?
Did you see them holding things that looked like swords?
Swords?
Hey, Takaru, what are you saying? Kurisu grabbed me by the arm. She couldn't see the D-sword herself, but she knew exactly what I was asking.
Yui, you didn't see anything like that, right? No, I didn't. Nope.
Yui must have been surprised by Kurisu's sudden outburst. It was obvious she was telling a lie. I could see from the look on her face that she thought she'd seen something she wasn't supposed to see. Yamazoe, I'm sorry. Can I ask you to do something I know you won't want to do? If Yui is one, I'll have to protect her too until the bad guy is caught. Just like I'm protecting you and Arimura.
Okay.
Uki was surprised, but she seemed willing to help her old friend. She put the pajamas on the bed and stretched her hand out into the empty air.
Yui, watch carefully, okay? Huh? What's going on? Uki, no, don't!
Kurisu let go of my arm and grabbed onto Yui, as if she was trying to stop her from showing it to Yui. Kurisu, I'm sorry, but we have to know before it's too late, so... You can see what's in Yamazoe's hands, right, Yui? Her sword is goddamn fucking creepy. It's cool, but it's very creepy for a little girl. Uki slowly drew it out of thin air, as it shone with a light no normal person could see. It was the weapon that connected reality to the Dirac Sea and its ocean of negative energy, the D-Sword.
Uh, uh,
It was obvious that Yui's eyes were following Uki's sword.
you can see it, Yui?
Can you see it? Yui looked like she was about to cry. Then she nodded slowly.
Yamazoi, that's enough. Thanks.
The D-Sword disappeared from Uki's hands. There was nothing left but an awkward silence.
This can't be happening.
I was right. Yui was a psychic, and Senni Minamisawa had almost killed her last night. Well, now Senni Minamisawa has to die. I'm sorry, Kurusu, but she has to die. I won't let anything happen to Yui, ever. October 24th, 2015, Saturday. I know this smell. That was the first thing Shinjo thought as he ducked under the crime scene tape and went inside the third floor condo. He knew this smell, but from where? It does look like a fal'Cie. Like, I can see it. Oh, that's right, New York. When he was training in America, a local colleague had taken him to a cheap steakhouse. The waiter had brought him a disgusting grilled lamb steak. The smell was a mix of rotting animal blood and burnt fat. He hadn't even taken a single bite. And that was precisely the smell that filled the room right now. The source of the stench was in the middle of the room, on top of the dinner table. The forensics people must have finished their job because it had already had a sheet placed over it. Now it was just waiting to be carried out to the coroner. Shinjo put his hands together a moment in silent prayer, then flipped up the sheet.
Huh?
The second he saw it, he yanked the handkerchief out of his pocket and forced it to his mouth to stop himself from throwing up. He knew it was disrespectful to the dead, but he couldn't help it.
Good evening, Shinjo.
He looked up and saw a younger detective talking to the forensics people. The detective lacked his usual energy. This was probably the worst case he'd ever seen. Shinjo didn't want to look bad in front of the younger kid, so he forced the handkerchief away from his mouth. Yeah, good evening. Did we find out who the body is?
Well, the body's in bad shape, and she's not wearing clothes. All we know for sure right now is that she's a woman, age anywhere from her teens to her 30s.
He could see hints on the charred flesh that indicated the body had once belonged to a woman, but the face was so burnt that there was no way to distinguish any features. And even stranger, there was what looked like a metal stick coming out of her mouth. The rod came out all the way below her abdomen, like a skewer used to cook a kebab. About 10 days ago, we got a report about a piece of rebar being stolen from a nearby construction site. The detective flipped open his notepad. Rebar? The stuff they use in concrete walls?
Yes, that's what's coming out of the victim's mouth.
I think I saw this in an old movie once. It was an old 80s horror flick that he'd seen with some friends in college. The movie was about a bunch of travelers who got lost in the jungle and eaten by cannibals. In one scene, someone had been cooked like this. And there was one more thing. This incident reminded him of a number of others he'd seen recently. The return of the New Generation madness. Is this another one? No, it's not the 23rd anymore. On October 23rd, the killer had spent the whole day going after Takeru Miyashiro and his friends, which meant the target had to be one of them.
Shinjo?
Sorry, continue. Shinjo put the sheet back on the body again and made another short prayer.
We don't have an ID on the victim, but I think it's safe to assume that it's the owner of this room.
Riko Haida, right?
That's right.
He flipped through his notebook and relayed to Shinjo what he learned from the condo's manager.
18 years old, single, lived alone. Supposedly she worked for a tech support company out of a temp agency, but when I tried to call the agency, they didn't exist.
Either they went out of business or it's a front company for a prostitution ring.
We're looking into it now.
So, what makes you think she's the victim? Shinjo took out his own notebook and started to copy down the things he thought were important.
Well, for one thing, there's no sign of anyone but her coming to this room ever since she moved in.
I'm sorry?
Forensics tells me that all the fingerprints and footprints in the room probably belong to her, and there's no sign that anyone's wiped them away.
Of course, there are some other fingerprints, but they're all old. They probably belong to the former occupants or a maintenance worker. Forensics thinks they can be ruled out. The only shoe marks at the entrance belong to her, too. When we found the body, both doors were locked from the inside, and the windows were locked too, which means it has to be her. Shinjo felt a little like he was going to faint. So how did the killer get in here and do this? It would take some serious equipment to roast a whole person. You couldn't get that in here without leaving any traces. The younger detective must have been thinking the same thing. If she died in a more normal way, we could just write it off as a suicide without having to bother you, but there is no normal way to die. I'm sorry, sir. There's a security camera on the first floor, right? Yes, one of my men is looking at the footage in the manager's room right now, but hasn't found anything yet. I see. Shinjo looked at the victim and then at the forensics people. They were frowning as they talked. From the look of it, we won't be able to determine a time of death. Correct. Not without an autopsy. If the smoke alarms went off, we would have known right away, but... The two of them looked up at the useless devices on the ceiling. They're broken, I'm told? Correct. Who broke them? No, if hers are the only fingerprints in here, then it has to be her, right? But why would she do that? Was she cooking, like, meth or something? Like, also, her light fixture is at a very weird angle. So, unless that is from, like, a blast or something. Like, more of the fire. Shinjo couldn't make any sense of it. Anyway, Shinjo, I've never seen someone burnt to death, but do they normally burn like this? No idea. I've never seen one either. The forensics people all say they can't figure it out. Even gasoline couldn't do this. And there was no smell of gasoline anyway. The only stench was of burning meat. I saw this on TV once, but... no, never mind. Say it. You won't get mad? Depends on what you say. It was a special on psychic phenomena around the world. One section was on spontaneous human combustion. Stop it, fool. Shinjo poked the younger detective's head lightly. The detective apologized, but Shinjo hadn't stopped him because it was too unbelievable to be true. He'd stopped him for the opposite reason. He was probably right. Which meant he didn't want rumors flying around, even inside the police department. Pyrokinesis, I think they called it. Miyoko no Sato, Hinaya Arimura, and Takeru Miyashiro had all used the word repeatedly. It was the power to set things on fire with your mind, and they said that the woman that was after Miyashiro and his friends, Senni Minamisawa, had it. Was this Riko Haida woman attacked by a pyrokinetic then? He came back to the same conclusion he'd reached earlier, but then soon shook his head. That doesn't explain it either. How'd she get the rebar used to skewer the woman inside the room, and how'd she get it skewered? Shinjo looked at the large window that dominated the room's east side. The curtain was open, and he could see the chaotic city of Shibuya outside. If the building was taller, the view would be impressive, but from this height you could see the dirty backsides of the surrounding condos and multi-purpose buildings. It was hard to call it a nice view. That probably made the rent a lot cheaper, though, he thought to himself as he began to examine the glass window. If the killer had used some kind of power to get the rebar in from the building across the street, this window would have been shattered. But there wasn't a scratch on it. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere by myself here. He hated to say it, but he needed a specialist like Miyoko no Sato. So for now, he decided to focus on gathering information. Shinjo. What? A light tap on his back brought him back to reality. I got word from the guy looking at the security camera footage. He found a clear shot of the victim's face. He did? Let's go. When he finally got out of the room, he felt like he could breathe again. Disrespectful to the dead or not, he took a deep breath when he got outside. He went down to the first floor and looked at the video on the monitor in the manager's room. He said Riko Haida always hid her face from the camera. Was there some reason she didn't want to be videotaped? Her face got burned during the Shibuya earthquake, he said, and she hated people seeing her. Oh, so that's why. But this time he happened to get a glimpse of her. Oh, is this going to be Senni Minamisawa? Oh, shit. The timestamp on the screen indicated it was late at night on the 12th of October. October 12th? Isn't that... He remembered writing that day down, so he flipped open his notebook. Oh, right. That's the first day Miyashiro and Arimura were attacked by Senni Minamisawa. Here's Riko Haida, sir. He quickly turned his eye back to the screen. Yep. Oh, and look, she's got that nice little piece of rebar. In the video, the door to the entrance opened and a woman came staggering inside. Perhaps her leg didn't work right, or maybe she was injured because he could tell she was dragging it. Her hair covered her face, making it impossible to read her expression. Oh, wait, is that? Yeah. Shinjo and the other detective gasped. Nico Haida was holding a long object in her hands, something like a staff, and using it to support herself. It looked exactly like the iron rebar that was currently skewering her body. Wait, she was skewered on rebar that she brought in herself? It was just a recording, but Shinjo found himself holding his breath nervously as if he was watching live footage. She walked right by the security camera. It did seem like she wanted to avoid showing her face. But she must have tripped on something when she was right under the camera because she staggered. When she did, her hair flew backwards and he could finally get a glimpse of her face. Huh? Shinjo's eyes went wide. It looks just like her. All of her features matched the description. They were identical to the composite sketch based on a description by someone who had barely survived an attack by this woman. No way. This is... The girl in the video was... Well, we didn't have to kill her then, in theory. I assume we didn't do that.
Don't worry, Yui. I'll stay with you every minute until it's safe. Okay. Come on, cheer up, okay? Okay.
Yui nodded. She was still pale. Not only had she gone through a lot last night, but she just found out that she was a psychic. She wasn't looking good at all. Yeah, bring your own rebar. BYOR. I explained to her what I thought she needed to know, and then told her that no matter what, she must never be alone from now on. It was true that the return of the new generation madness had come to a temporary halt when sending Minamisawa hadn't been able to kill anyone on the 23rd. But no matter what the rest of the world said, it felt far too early to declare this whole thing over.
You know, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm actually a little excited. Huh? It's been so long since I've gotten to take baths with you or sleep next to you. At some point, you started growing up and acting like Yuto's big sister all the time, right? Sometimes I just want you to be my little sister. Oh, jeez.
Yui smiled just a little. What about Yuto?
He can stay in Dad's room for a while. I told him he could sleep with us in here, but I guess that's too embarrassing for him. I told him I didn't mind, but... You're his first love, Big Sis Nono. Oh, keep that a secret, okay? No matter what. I'm honored. Hey, Takaru, you hear that? You better try harder or he'll steal my heart away.
Sometimes Kurisu would say things like that just to enjoy my reaction. Lately, I'd gotten a lot better at not reacting the way she wanted me to. I simply snorted, and she puffed up her cheeks and pouted. Aw, that was kind of cute. So, about your power, you really have no clue what it is? The small smile vanished from Yui's face.
I don't know.
Does anything special seem to happen around you?
Special? Maybe with you?
Like what?
Like, I know when he's lying and stuff. That's not a psychic power. Every big sister can do that. I can always tell when Takaru's lying, for one thing.
Don't bring me into this. This time, my don't react skill failed me. Kurisu chuckled, finally satisfied. Damn it. I felt annoyed for a moment, and then I realized that Kurisu was trying to send me a message.
Try not to scare Yui if you can, okay?
That's what she seemed to be saying. Yeah, she was right. A normal girl like Yui would never be able to handle knowing there might be a serial killer after her. So Kurisu was deliberately pretending to be cheerful. I realized that my tone had probably been too harsh and relaxed it. Anything else? It doesn't matter what.
Anything else?
Yui looked down and thought for a minute.
You know, this doesn't happen often, but sometimes I feel like I can hear Yu's voice.
His voice?
Yeah, like when he forgot something and he's in trouble, or he got hurt and he's crying. When bad things happen, I hear it like that. And then I'll hurry to Yu's school and it'll turn out that he really did get hurt.
I see. Maybe that's it. I wasn't a specialist, so I couldn't say for sure, but maybe you could call it psychic sympathy between siblings. Kunosato might know more, but for whatever reason, she had it out for us, and there was no way I was telling her about you. Yeah, no.
Does that ever happen to Yuto?
Don't worry, he doesn't have any powers. I'd already checked yesterday. I'd shown him Yamazoi's D-sword, and he hadn't shown any response at all.
It feels like I'm worried about you, but he's not worried about me. That kind of makes me mad.
Exactly, twin telepathy, except that they're not twins.
But it's a good thing, right? That means he's safe, right?
And it does kind of match with her wish, because during the earthquake, wasn't he trapped in the dark, and that's why he can't be alone? So maybe her wish was that she could find him or like hear him. Yeah, one-sided twin telepathy. Yeah, he shouldn't be a target. When Yui had heard that, she finally seemed to feel better. Kurisu softly put her hand on Yui's head and rubbed it.
You really are a good girl, Yui. Hey, stop that! Stop!
No. Kurisu grabbed Yui before she could escape and held her tight. She looked like she was about to kiss her at any second.
I like you, Yui. I love you. Aw, Big Sis Nono's being kind of creepy. Help me, Brother Takada!
I couldn't help but smile. Let her do it until she tires herself out, Yui.
No, save me!
Just when I thought it was safe to leave Yui with Kurisu. Huh? The three of us froze at the sudden sound of a knock. No way. We're inside our house. The knock continued. You know, normal people also knock. So, Kurisu stood up and positioned herself between Yui and the door. I motioned for her to step back and put my hand on the doorknob. I remembered the terror I'd felt at Cafe Lax and gulped. To be honest, I was afraid, terrified. But I was the only one who could protect them right now.
Hello?
Huh? Suddenly, I heard an easygoing voice from the other side of the door.
Miyashiro, can I come in? Or are you up to something naughty with Kurisu?
Wait, it's you?
Oh, hey there.
Don't hey there, mate. Don't knock like that. Yeah, we should just knock back. What are they gonna do?
What? I have to knock. What if I walk in on you two in the middle of something?
Kurisu and I are not going to be in the middle of anything. Anyway, what do you want?
Oh, right. I need to talk to you. Got a second?
To me?
Can you come to the dining room?
Yeah, that's fine.
Should we go too?
Kurisu poked her face out from behind me and asked. Arimura stuck her hands out and shook them in what looked to me like a deliberate overreaction.
No, you two just keep on being lovey-dovey. I only need to talk to Miyashiro. Yeah?
Arimura said her usual adios, gracias to a confused Kurisu, then dragged me out of the room. What's going on?
I don't know if it's something Kurisu should hear yet.
Huh?
Just come with me. I want to show you something.
Okay. I followed Arimura as she hurried away from Kurisu's room.
Oh, Taka, how's Yui looking?
I think she's okay now. She's calmed down.
I see. Good.
Uki was in the kitchen washing dishes. She looked at us. She let out a small sigh of relief. Even if she hadn't seen her for a long time, Yui was still her friend, and she was still worried about her.
Hina, want some tea? Uki made it. It's really good. Oh, no, I'm about to go home.
Huh? I turned to look at Arimura, surprised. I thought she was staying here because there might be another attack like last night.
Hina, you're leaving? Stay here some more. We've got no school tomorrow. No, I can't cause any more trouble for Miyashiro's father. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting to stay this long, so I'm out of clean underwear.
You don't need to worry about that stuff.
You pervert! You think it's okay for me to show you used underwear? Or what, are you demanding that I show it to you? I may owe you for letting me stay the night, but I'm not going that far.
Arimura would press down on the hem of her skirt. Nobody's demanding anything. That's not what I'm talking about.
Then what are you talking about?
I thought you were staying here until we were sure this was all over, right? It's safer that way.
Oh, I see.
I mean, to be fair, it was a weird thing to say, like, you don't need to worry about clean underwear. Like, the implications there, like, if she's staying here, she does need to worry about clean underwear. It's not like this is an underwear store. This is a clinic. So, Arimura scratched her cheek, and then she took on a more serious look.
Seri, Uki, I'm sorry, but can you leave the room for a second?
She spoke pointedly to Serika and Uki. The two of them exchanged glances for a moment, but Arimura wasn't allowing any room for discussion. They left the room. Once we were alone, Arimura sighed a little and took her phone out of her pocket.
This is actually what I wanted to talk to you about.
Huh?
I just got a message from Shinjo. He wants the two of us to confirm something for him right away.
From Shinjo?
He sent me something awful. The man has no tact. I just hate him.
Arimura expanded the attached image and looked away from the phone as she handed it to me.
This is a copy of a security camera video, he says.
I mean, at least he didn't send us a picture of the body.
I could see in the video the face of a woman I would never forget.
Sending Minamisawa. My reaction was the opposite of Arimura's. I couldn't tear my eyes away from it.
You're sure that's her, right? Then you tell him, please. I don't want to talk to him anymore.
Oh, yeah, okay. Where was this? Arimura seemed annoyed.
The message said it was her condo or something. They found her condo?
So, was she arrested? I finally managed to tear myself away from the screen and look at Arimura. She shrugged a little.
Well, more or less. So it's okay for me to go home now. Thanks for everything, Miyashiro.
Huh?
Tell Uki and Big Sis Tachibana that they don't have to worry now.
What do you mean?
She's dead. That woman is dead.
Huh? Arimura spoke without any real emotion in her voice. Senni Minamisawa is dead?
Yeah, you come up with a good way to tell Kurisu. I'm terrible at that stuff. Anyway, that's what's up. Thanks.
She grabbed the phone from my hand and quickly deleted the photo. Then she bowed and left me alone in the dining room.
Seri, Uki, I'm done talking. I'm going home, so keep Miyashiro company for a while. He's lonely.
I could hear her voice from the hallway. I could also hear Serika, Uki, Kurisu, and Yui all talking. They were probably all saying something like, "You're leaving at this hour?" But I didn't hear their conversation at all. Senni Minamisawa is dead. The serial killer who was after us was gone? October 27th, 2015. Tuesday. Nico Haida's condo is cut off from sunlight by the surrounding buildings, making the whole place feel somehow gloomy. Mio Kunosata was standing there, her eyes cold as ever. She'd gone through all the wooden shelves and colored boxes on the walls, read every single document and receipt inside, and found nothing.
You're sure there's nothing in what the police took, right?
Yeah, I looked at all of it, I'm sure. Several days had passed since the death of the woman they believed to be Senni Minamisawa. The body had long since been taken out for an autopsy. A few pieces of evidence, like the table the body had been found on, had been taken by the police, but Shinjo said the clue she was looking for wasn't among them.
There's nothing here. Am I wasting my time?
She'd spent 2 hours searching the room. Even she was starting to feel a little concerned, but she shook her head to drive the thoughts from her mind. Next, she pulled out the magazines and comics from the shelves and began to check if anything was hidden between the pages. Hey!
What?
Shinjo was leaning up against the wall and watching her, a frown on his face. This room was completely locked. There's no sign of anyone but her ever being here, and she herself brought in the murder weapon, that piece of rebar.
What of it?
How did she die? Regardless of whether it was murder or suicide.
I'm not a detective. Don't look at me to solve your locked room mysteries for you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm asking you for your opinion on the death of a gigolomaniac.
Shinjo sounded unhappy as he turned to look at the spot where the burnt body had been found.
A gigalomaniac is different than what you'd typically imagine if you were thinking of a psychic. Their powers can only be used when there's someone else for them to share their delusions with. In other words, if this was a sealed space where no one's eyes could see, no matter whose eyes they might be, then Senni Minamizawa was just a normal human. She couldn't use her pyrokinesis. But this place wasn't sealed at all. That window, for instance. If someone was looking in from over there, it would be easy to share her delusion.
I thought of that too, of course.
Then what's the problem? Ugh, nothing here either.
Kunosato finished checking all of the bookshelves and looked around the room, uncertain of what to do next. There wasn't a lot of furniture or appliances. The place was rather plain. The closet and desk were the first places she'd checked, but she still hadn't found what she was looking for.
If Senni Minamizawa really did live here, I was sure I'd find at least some hint of the committee.
What the fuck is the committee?
Or knowing them, did they get here before I did? Damn it, it's been too many hours since the murder. If I'd been able to look at this place first thing, I might have been able to find something first.
She looked over her shoulder and glared at Shinjo. It took effort to stop herself from bitching him out.
Fine, I'll find them anyway.
Kunosato decided to search the whole room once more. All the paperwork inside the messy desk used the name Riko Haida. It was nothing but receipts and utility bills. But there was no sign of a bill for a phone or internet service. She'd had neither, it seemed. There was no sign of her even having a landline phone.
That's right. There isn't a phone anywhere.
She looked around the room and found the phone jack, but it was covered in dust and showed no signs of ever having been used. The only other thing she found among the papers were receipts for food and drink from a convenience store. Senni Minamizawa had never cooked. Convenience store food was all she ate.
She must have spent a lot of money on food, I bet.
How had she paid for it all? The police were trying their hardest to find out, but there was no sign of a bank book or credit card in the room, and they didn't know anything about her bank account either. Interesting. I have played Steins Gate, but I don't remember anything about a committee, but it's been several years now, so I could have forgotten it by this point.
The committee wasn't paying her? If I could at least find her bank account, I could start trying to trace it.
Senni Minamizawa was seen by Miyashiro and his friends between the night of the 23rd and early morning of the 24th. And if it was the night of the 24th that she was found dead, which means she died sometime after her last sighting. Kunosato had been so lost in thought that she hadn't even really realized Shinjo was talking to her.
Huh? What's that?
I'm saying that there were 20 hours between the last time Senni Minamizawa was seen and when her body was found.
That's plenty of time.
But what happened during those 20 hours or not, even what Senni Minamizawa was doing during that time, we have no clue. She hadn't even come back to her condo.
What?
Kunosato's expression changed for the first time. She doesn't show up on the security camera on the 24th, not even once.
That's impossible. Then how did she wind up dead in this room?
That's the question.
The guy who checked the video must have missed it.
I checked it myself. There was no mistake. Shinjo closed his eyes and rubbed them. He'd caused himself a good bit of eye strain. I'm having someone else check the video now, but I have no idea what this means.
Fine, I'll think about it.
Thanks. He covered his face with his left hand, exhausted.
I'm going to look at this room a little more and see if I can't find that out, too. Can you find out for me when Senni Minamizawa began using the alias Riko Haida? The committee might be involved in that, too.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, and when are the police going public with this?
It hasn't been decided. There's some arguing going on about that.
I think that if it made the news, we might learn more about Senni Minamizawa.
I know how you feel, but don't be in such a hurry.
No? What do you know about me?
She glared at him with daggers in her eyes, but Shinjo shrugged and said nothing. Yeah, girl, you overuse that. Like, it loses its power. Anyway, I'm off to go get a bite to eat. What will you do?
I'm not hungry. Go.
Alright, I will. Shinjo left without trying to invite her a second time. But as he opened the door, he paused as if he'd remembered something. You can look as much as you want, but the building's manager is suspicious of you. He's not convinced you're really with the police. If he calls the local cops, there'll be trouble, so be careful.
I'll keep that in mind, I guess.
Your guess isn't good enough. I'm the one they'll be getting mad at. And then he laughed, but there was no humor in his voice.
Hmm.
Hmm. It was after school in the club room, and the twilight streamed in through the open windows. Kazuki was in the corner playing SO2 and making weird noises. Her battle didn't seem to be going well, and she was making oddly sexy noises. How is a sexy noise? I hope no one outside the room got the wrong idea. I heard a small knock on the door.
Stare.
Wait, it's you? Don't peek, just come inside.
Is it okay? I'm not interrupting?
Interrupting what?
You can hear Hana all the way down the hall.
She says she's busy, so don't talk to her now.
Taku, wow! If they gave out certifications for understanding Hana, you'd get one easily.
I don't want one.
She's saying, so what, you don't care about me at all?
No, that's stop talking about me behind my back.
Wow, amazing.
Sedika smiled and clapped. For some reason, she was really happy. She's happy anytime we have fun with our friends. Like, Sedika just wants the best for us.
Huh? Where's Non today?
Student council. She was out for a while, so she has a lot of work to do, she says. Interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. Committee of 300 kind of idea. Like, Steins Gate was all about time travel and had a lot to do with, oh, shit, what's the one with the particle collider? The group. The only thing that's coming to mind is NIST, and I know it's not NIST. I have brain rot. Anyways, different organization. I don't remember them calling it a committee. Yeah, CERN, there we go. Thank you. It had CERN a lot in it, so. But I don't remember a committee, but again, it's been quite a few years, so. Kawahara came and said we couldn't have her today.
Oh, so it's war. Okay, Taku, let's go steal her back.
Huh? No, that's fine. I didn't want any more trouble with the student council, or Kawahara more specifically.
Wow, you're back to the old loser, Taku. You were so cool for a while, too.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Facing off with that scary psychic, sneaking into hospital basements? You were really cool when you were following the case, you know?
Was I? Kurisu got super mad at me and told me not to go chasing after danger, though. But now, that all seemed like the distant past. Even though it hadn't even been a week. Yeah. Hey, Kawahara, want to hear what happened to your old bestie? That won't traumatize him at all. The case is really over, right? That night, the 23rd, when there had been no murder, the rest of the world had started to declare that the return of the new generation madness was over. But I still hadn't believed it then. I thought that it wasn't over at all. But the next day, I'd heard shocking news from Shinjo. Senni Minamisawa, the woman who'd threatened us so much, was found burnt to death in her condo.
What? Senni was...
Yeah, Arimura and I both saw the video. There's no doubt about it. Serika's not settling. She's best girl. I'd spent a long time thinking about that night. But in the end, I had no choice but to tell Kurisu about her death. When I told her, her eyes went wide, and then she looked down silently. Her long hair hid her face, and I couldn't see her expression. Um, I don't know what to say, but...
Now,
Huh?
now it's over, right? The person who was after you and Yui is gone, right?
That's what Shinjo thinks.
I see. Good.
She raised her head. Her eyes were a little wet, but she was quietly smiling. The police still hadn't made any announcement about a suspect in the killings being burnt to death. Not only was Senni Minamisawa a minor, but she may have been driven to the crime by chaos child syndrome, the form of PTSD experienced by young survivors of the Shibuya earthquake. Shinjo had said it was an extremely delicate matter. And since the circumstances of her death were so strange, the forensics people were getting nowhere. There was an internal war over how the police should release the information. Also, I could be wrong about this, but it seemed to me that the fact that she was a human test subject at AH Tokyo General might have played a role too. If she became famous, the media and internet might start looking into her past, and they might find out about the human experiments. It would make sense if someone who wanted to avoid that was putting pressure on the police.
Hey, Miyashiro?
Huh? Oh, sorry, what's up?
What are we doing with that?
Ito pointed to a map on the wall. Should we put it away? We might not need it anymore. But I have all those sticky notes on it. I put those all up. I stood in front of it again. The map was crammed with all the information we'd gathered so far. It looked faded, like something that had happened a long time ago. Oh, right. I found 2 photographs on the map that I'd completely forgotten about. The 6th and 7th incidents in the New Generation Madness, Yummy Hand and DQN Puzzle. And notes next to them read October 28th and November 4th. Today's the 28th, huh?
Yeah.
Ito nodded. He seemed to know what I meant. Then I saw another note I'd stuck up there in my own handwriting. It was one I'd been thinking about ever since I was told about Senni Minamisawa's death. Serial killer equals multiple people including pyrokinetic. Is it really over? That's what everybody says. And if there was another killer, they should have done something on the 23rd since Senni Minamisawa didn't, right? Yeah, I see. But nothing happened, which means it's impossible, I think. Ito took the note off the map.
Let's just give it up. I think it's hard on the vice president.
Oh.
Yeah, she might be right.
Right? I see. I remembered Kurisu's sad eyes when I told her about Senni Minamisawa's death. All right, we can be done with this then. I slowly removed the map. This doesn't feel right.
But now this wall seems kind of plain, doesn't it?
It's been here for so long, yeah.
Right? Let's find some other case, Taka. Something that will astonish everybody.
Yeah, that's why we formed the newspaper club.
Yeah.
Sidika smiled again, the same way she always did. And Ito finally started to grin too.
This time, let's pick something that won't get the vice president mad at us.
I know. I've learned my lesson from this one. Even Kazuki turned away from her game and gave me an agreement. Back to home sweet home? That night, I finally went back to the RV. Yui had finally calmed down and stopped being afraid at night. If Dad, Kurisu, and Yuto were there, she'd probably be fine. Her old friend Uki was there too. This place really does calm you down. I sat in the chair and booted up my PC for the first time in a long while. My inbox was overflowing with spam. It was strange. It always used to annoy me, but now it felt like proof that I'd returned to my old life. Okay, thanks guys. Of course, I deleted them all immediately, but they didn't piss me off like they used to. Now then. Come to think of it, I'd forgotten because of everything that had happened, but Gant had just sold me the latest edition of Cool Cat Press, and I hadn't touched it at all. Oh, yippee. I took it out from its hiding spot under my desk and started to flip through the pages. Felt like forever since I'd done that, too. How much can you get away with in your first month with a girl? French kissing or is deep kissing okay? What the fuck is deep kissing? Am I missing on a base? Like, the hell is that? Hey, Onoi, what do you think? Ah! I almost fell out of my chair. Sidika was standing behind me, looking over my shoulder.
I think it really doesn't matter what month it is, you know?
No. When did you get in here?
Your door wasn't locked.
Crap. I've been so busy reading that I hadn't noticed Sidika. Don't just come in, knock at least.
Oh, but I didn't think you'd like it if I knocked.
Huh?
I thought it might scare you.
She was right. If I heard knocking now, it might be bad for my heart. She might look like an airhead, but the nice thing about Sidika was that you could always count on her to remember things like that. Listen, okay? I know I've said this before, but this book is something Gant forces me to buy. I'm not buying it because I want to. Just remember that. I put my Cool Cat Press back under the desk in a very cool manner.
Okay, got it. I won't tell no one, okay?
Wait, that's not what I just said.
So, what about you, Taku?
What?
How much can you get away with when it comes to kissing?
I don't know. I've never kissed a girl.
Huh?
Sidika suddenly pursed her lips unhappily. Huh?
Taku, you forgot?
Forgot what? Oh, have we kissed Sidika and we forgot?
You had it with me. Your, well, first kiss.
What? I literally leapt out of my chair. I kissed Sidika? When? Where? How? Why? According to Kenji Minamikata's column in Cool Cat Press, a girl's first kiss was more important to her than losing her virginity. And that's why a guy who didn't remember his first kiss was a terrible man, he'd said. Yeah, okay, bet a kiss somewhere. I mean, I'm also kind of imagining like they were like 5 or something, so... Crap. I was sweating, unable to remember a thing, but Sidika just laughed.
Well, I forgive you. It was when we were in preschool.
Wait, it was that long ago? Don't scare me like that. And anyway, kisses in preschool didn't count. Probably. But when I told her so, Sidika looked upset again. Anyway, what are you doing here? I thought you went home.
Yeah, but I got a little lonely, so I came to see you.
Huh?
You know, we've been together all the time lately, right? Of course, I didn't like it when the scary woman was after us, but we all worked together and overcame it, you know?
Yeah, we probably do have memory problems, so... We had a massive earthquake that gave us superpowers in between. It's reasonable to forget.
If Non heard me say this, she'd get mad, so keep it a secret, but I was pretty excited.
I see.
What about you?
Me? I don't know. I'm not sure. She suddenly leaned over right on top of me and reached a hand towards my computer. The sensation on my back was soft and warm. I didn't know how to react whenever she did something like this. Hey, you're heavy. Get off.
I'm not heavy. You're so rude.
Her white fingers gripped the mouse and she started to move it around.
I know I said this in the club room, but I want a new case to research. Oh, what about this?
Sidika opened a site for explorers of abandoned buildings, a popular genre. Most of the articles were about people going into abandoned villages, factories, and mines. Bankrupted, empty amusement parks and department stores were also popular. They would write essays and upload photos. Some sites would also write about bloody urban legends involving the abandoned buildings or upload photographs with ghosts in them. This stuff's all been done. Also, going into abandoned buildings is illegal. I don't think we could do it as a school club.
Aw, that sucks.
You know, I do kind of wonder, like, Mio knew immediately that Serika wasn't a psychic, but I want to know why. Like, there's got to be something there that signifies that. But, and I don't think it's just like prejudice. I think there's got to be something about Serika. Because we used our powers around Serika every time before we knew about them. So, I don't know. Serika moved away from me and then lay down on the RV's bed. Then she yawned loudly. Hey, don't sleep there. Hmm? I turned around, but her eyelids were already closed. That was fast. I quickly stood up and shook her shoulders. Hey, if you're sleepy, then go home and sleep.
I'm staying over tonight, so it's fine.
What are you talking about? Where am I supposed to sleep?
It's okay. I'm tiny, so we can sleep together.
We cannot. Just as I grabbed her by the arm and tried to lift her up. Huh? My phone started to vibrate in my backpack. It kept going, so it probably wasn't an email or a text, but a phone call. I had no choice but to leave Serika on the bed while I went to answer it. I looked at the screen and saw the call was from Ito. Now what? Did he find some new case for us? I answered the phone. Hello, what's up, Ito?
Did you see At-chan?
His voice was tense and anxious. Ad channel?
Just look at it. Any of the new generation threads is fine.
What's going on? I walked over to my PC, confused, and opened At channel. I decided to start by opening the news board. There were quite a few threads about the original and current New Generation Madness incidents. Huh? I couldn't believe my eyes. The page was filled with the names Senri Minamizawa and Nico Haida. And I could see the words burnt to death here and there, too. Did the police go public with her name?
No, you can tell if you read it, but the information seemed to leak from somewhere.
It leaked? Yeah, I mean, they do kind of seem to be, like, making it clear that Serika doesn't have powers. So it's a possibility that, like, yeah, we stole them or something. I wonder if maybe she's also different from us? I don't know. Like, maybe she's got something from the earthquake, but it's not that. I opened up a thread and saw that, yes, the police were still remaining silent. But there was the picture Arimura and I had seen of her on the security camera and a photo of her when she was a student. And there was a ton of weird information on Senri Minamizawa with no source even given. Some of it said... What the hell is this? How that... They have the picture of them in elementary school. What the hell?
Did you find it?
Goddamn wrong-siders. They're just posting crap without even bothering to see if it's right. I was angry because I saw Kurusu and Kawahara's names mixed in with the information on Senri Minamizawa. The first idiot who'd posted was probably an old classmate of theirs. The three of them were friends and always together. That information had nothing to do with the case. What were they thinking? And the irresponsible comments that came after that were even worse. Another thread said that Minamizawa had once lived in Alba Dorm and that Kurusu visited her every day in her condo. This was crazy. There were even a few morons saying that Kurusu was an accomplice to the murders because she'd helped Senri Minamizawa stay hidden and that the police were coming to arrest her. This was probably why her phone number had shown up on an interview site. Interview here refers to the act of someone on the internet calling an individual or group for an unsolicited telephone interview. Used when someone or some group has done something wrong, and internet users call them en masse to question them or complain. Supposedly done out of a sense of justice or righteous anger, but in fact many people do this just for fun or because everyone else is doing it. Yeah, this literally is fake news. God damn it. When I saw that Kurusu's graduation photo was uploaded along with Senri's, I slammed my fist down onto the desk. The case is finally over, so why is this happening?
What's going on, Taka?
Serika jumped up when she heard me yell. I'm hanging up, Ito. I'll call Kurusu.
No, I tried, but it didn't work. She turned off her phone.
I hit my computer's power button and quickly headed for the door. Fine, I'll go to Albador myself.
Yeah, I'll go too. See you there.
Ito hung up as well. Are we gonna tell Sedika what's going on? Oh no, sorry, but I need you to stay here.
What? No, something happened with Non, right? Take me too.
Sedika followed after me as I ran out the door. I didn't have a choice, so the two of us ran towards Alba Dorm. There were already several strange vans parked outside the dorm when we got there. Some people were already wandering around outside with video cameras. It's the mainstream media. They're here already? Screw them. As I got close to Alba Dorm, I could feel several sets of eyes upon me. Hey, can I talk to you? Do you two live here? Several men who appeared to be reporters started to surround us. I'm sorry, what? Do you live here, I said. No, please let me through. Then, are you a friend? Do you know a girl named Nono Kurisu? No. I decided to lie. If I told them I knew Kurisu, I figured I wouldn't be able to take another step. Then, does the name Senni Minamisawa mean anything to you? Did you see it on the internet? She's supposedly a serial killer. I really don't know anything. We just came to Alba Clinic to get some medicine. Then I grabbed Sedika's hand and started to run. I shook off the hands that tried to grab at me and rang in the bell for Alba Clinic, not Alba Dorm. I could hear several frustrated noises behind me. Maybe it was just because the police hadn't made their announcement yet, but even the media didn't seem to want to step on the clinic's property. It would probably be considered trespassing. Soon I heard someone on the other side of the door. It's me. Onoe is here too, I whispered and the door opened. I slid inside and the door was quickly closed again. Hey, welcome back. Dad was standing in the front lobby, chuckling.
Good evening, Dr. Sakuma. It seems like things are getting really rough.
Yeah, this has never happened before, so I'm not sure what to do. Dad scratched the back of his head. What's Kurisu doing? It would be kind of mean to say I find this surprising, but she's pretty depressed. That's rare for her. I'd figured that Kurisu was like any other girl. She was either scared or depressed after what had happened. But it hurt to hear that a strong-willed girl like her was down. Go see her. It'll probably cheer her up a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Sedika and I ran up the stairs to the dorm. I could see her sitting at the dining table with her head drooping down. And past her, hiding in the kitchen, Yue and Yuto were looking on, worried. There was a cold cup of English breakfast tea on the table, and Uki was pacing around, wondering if she should make a new one. I'm back.
Hello.
They all looked relieved to see me.
Brother Takara, Sedika, I'm glad you came.
Yeah. I waved to Yue a little, then tried to talk to Kurisu. You okay, Kurisu? Kurisu slowly looked up as if she'd only now realized we were here. Her tone made it obvious that she was trying to hide her shock. You came because you were worried? Thanks. Yeah, Ito says he's coming too. I see. Why not sit down instead of just standing there? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sedika and I sat across from her. Uki quickly brought us some tea.
Kurisu, shall I make you some new tea? No, I'm fine. Thanks.
Kurisu smiled and politely refused. Uki looked a little sad. Hey, Kurisu?
Yeah?
Don't let it get to you too much, okay? Everybody on At Channel has the attention span of a 3-year-old. They'll all have probably forgotten it within the month. So if you can just get through that...
No, that's not what bothers me. I don't care what they say about me.
Huh?
But I can't forgive them for doing this to the people I care about, or to Alba Dorm.
Her voice was shaking with sorrow. Yue and Yuto ran out from the kitchen and grabbed onto her from both sides.
Big sis, no, we're fine. I'm fine, just fine. I'm fine too. Yuto, Yui. But if they bully you at school, that won't bother me. And if anybody tries to bully you, they'll have to deal with me.
Kurisu's eyes were wet with tears.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Why are you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong. That's right. You don't have anything to apologize for, no?
Everybody rushed to defend her, but that only seemed to make it worse. Looking at her made me feel angry. Where had the information leaked from? And why would information come out that made her look like an accomplice just because she was an old friend of a serial killer? It didn't make sense. It was crazy. Huh? And then I realized that something was wrong. I'd been so shocked by what had happened that I hadn't had the time to think about it, but this doesn't make sense at all. Hat Channel was always looking for a new target to make a fuss over, and sending Minamisawa fit the bill perfectly. But had there really been enough time for them to start focusing on Kurisu and Alba Dorm? Even for Hat Channel, that was weird. It's like somebody set this up. As soon as I had the thought, I froze. Someone set this up? Were they after Kurisu or maybe Alba Dorm? But why? Who would do that and for what? What could they gain by going after Kurisu or Alba Dorm? Damn it, it doesn't make sense. I took the phone out of my pocket and dialed the number.
Taku? What's wrong?
Everyone looked at me surprised. I motioned for them to be quiet and stood up. I needed to move somewhere I wouldn't be overheard so as to not worry Kurisu more. I hurried to my own room, then focused on the sound of the ringing phone. Come on, pick up, pick up. After a long time, there was finally an answer. Oh, Miyashiro, good, I was just about to call. Shinjo wasn't as much of a hurry as I was. I cut him off and yelled, Why is this weird information getting out? Is this about what's on the internet? The Cyber Crimes Division is handling it, so just give us some time. More importantly, the police didn't leak it? That's what we're trying to find out. Shinjo sounded a little upset. He probably didn't want to think that any of his colleagues had leaked important information. More importantly, where are you? Alba Dorm, why? Good, listen to me carefully. Your lives are in danger. Huh? Our lives were in danger? Both we and you have made a terrible mistake. Ironically, the leak on the internet is what cleared it up. A mistake? The pyrokinetic that attacked you in Arimura? That wasn't Senri Minamizawa. What? My eyes went wide as I stood there in shock. My grip on my phone tightened. It wasn't Senri Wrong person. It wasn't Senri Minamizawa? That's right. Then who was it? Riko Haida. Huh? Wasn't that an alias? Yes, that's what we thought. That the Riko Haida identity was false and being used as an alias. But we found several comments online from people saying that they actually knew her. At first, we thought that they were fake, but we used the comments to track down the place where she supposedly grew up and had the local police check it out. And we discovered that Riko Haida really exists. What? The dental work on the body in the condo matches the records at her local dentist perfectly. There's no doubt about it. The pyrokinetic that we thought was Senri Minamizawa was actually Riko Haida, a completely different person. Wait a second. I moved the phone away from my ear so I could think for a second. That woman wasn't Senri Minamizawa? Then did the real Minamizawa die in the Shibuya earthquake just like Kurisu had said? Then why did she come after us? I'd never known a woman named Riko Haida. I'd never met her or even heard the name before. I couldn't think of any reason why she'd come after me. What was she doing with Senri Minamizawa's ID card then? I couldn't think straight. I kept coming up with new questions. Hello, Miyashiro, are you there? Exactly. We don't care who's trying to kill us. We care who is trying to kill you. Yes. I put the phone back to my ear when I heard the panic in his voice. We just got the forensics results back on Riko Haida's death. She died sometime between early morning and afternoon on October 23rd. October 23rd? That's right. By that time, she was already dead. But I was attacked at the cafe on the night of the 23rd.
Kunosato's theory is that it wasn't Nikohida herself who attacked you. It was probably another psychic who created a delusion of Nikohida that you saw. It's the only explanation.
Another psychic? I felt a cold, sticky sweat on my forehead. Another psychic. I'd suspected it many times, but in the end, I discarded the possibility. That's why I thought this was all over.
Nikohida's head was badly damaged, so it took time to find out, but her brain shows the same enlargement as the other victims. She was probably mind-controlled into stabbing herself with that rebar and setting herself on fire. The method matches the other victims.
Then the real killer slew Nikohida, who was a psychic on the 23rd?
Yes, right on schedule.
Which means... I was too scared to say what came next. Shinjo said it for me.
The return of the new generation madness didn't end on the 23rd. The murders aren't over at all.
Today was October 28th. If the murders weren't over...
Be careful, Miyashiro. They're probably after one of you.
I felt like every hair in my body was standing up on end. I imagined a hand reaching out from somewhere and putting a cold blade to my neck. Shinjo, what do we do?
Just don't be alone right now. I'm sending an officer. I'm going to Arimura's house to keep her safe. Then I'll head to where you are. Understood?
Right. Thank you. I hung up, jammed the phone into my pocket, and ran out of the room. My legs were trembling, and I almost tripped several times. When I got to the dining room, Kurisu and Serika were folding everyone's laundry.
If I'm not doing something, I just start thinking bad things.
Kurisu forced herself to smile as she looked at me. Yeah, you're going to start thinking even worse things in a second. You're going to need some more laundry. Yeah, don't send an officer. Send someone we can trust. We don't have anyone we can trust. That is everyone we can trust. Yeah, how do we know you're really Ito? But she must have seen the look on my face because her smile faded instantly.
What's wrong? Take?
Where are the others? I couldn't see Yui, Yuto, or Uki.
They're helping Dr. Sakuma. The clinic's closing for today, so they went downstairs to clean.
I see. Dad had probably figured that with all the media outside, he wouldn't get any work done today, so he must have decided to close up early. I looked out the curtains and saw that the street was filled with vans. None of them showed any signs of leaving. But whether this was fair or not, even though I'd hated them a moment ago, I now felt glad they were there. With this many people, no matter who they were, this killer wouldn't be able to get at us easily. I went to close the curtain and saw that there was some kind of commotion going on outside. Huh? The window glass was too thick for me to hear, but something must have happened while I was on the phone. Onoe, take care of Kurisu. Don't leave her side for a second, no matter what.
Huh? Okay.
Takeda, if something happened, tell me. I will in a bit. Anyway, I'm counting on you, Onoe.
Okay.
These two weren't psychics, so they were probably safe, but it was best to be sure. I ran down the stairs to the clinic. I could see Uki and Yuto cleaning up the equipment in the exam room. Where's Dad and Yui?
Dad's outside fighting with the media.
Fighting?
Yes, someone was trying to take photos through one of the clinic's windows, so he got mad and went outside.
I listened carefully, and sure enough, I could hear Dad arguing with what looked like a reporter, or what sounded like a reporter. Is Yui with Dad?
Huh?
Sis? Yuto and Uki looked confused. She just went to find you, didn't she? Oh, no. Oh, no, I hate this already. I'm so scared. What? Yui went to find me? No, I didn't see her.
What? But I saw her go upstairs to the dorm.
That's impossible. Huh? I turned around and ran back up the stairs to the dorm. Yui? Yui? Where are you? Yui! But I couldn't find her no matter where I looked. She wasn't in her room, or the bath, or the toilet. I looked everywhere. Huh? After I looked everywhere I could, I finally decided to check the dorm's emergency exit, and shivered as I saw that the inside latch was undone. Oh no. It's always locked. Did she go outside? Why? I could feel my heart pounding with terror as I ran back into the clinic. She's not there.
That's impossible. Ito just came.
Ito?
Yes, and she went upstairs with Ito.
She was with Ito, right? She wasn't alone?
Yes.
I see. I breathed a small sigh of relief. If it was just Yui, she might have been in danger, but if she wasn't alone, it wouldn't be as easy for someone to attack her. Anyway, I'll call him. As I took out my phone, Serika and Kurisu came into the room. They were worried. They looked even more worried when I told them that Ito and Yui had vanished.
Ito and Yui? Where did they go?
Hello? Ito?
Oh, Miyashiro.
Where are you?
Just heading back from the convenience store. We did some shopping.
Ito's voice was the same as ever. Where's Yui? Is she with you?
She's right next to me.
I see. God damn it, Ito. Scare me to death. I felt relieved, but screamed into the phone anyway. If you're going to the store, then tell someone. And don't take Yui. Everybody was worried.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Anyway, just hurry back. Yui might be in danger.
Oh, don't worry about that. If something happens to Yui, I'll do an operation to fix her right up.
Huh? My mouth hung open for a second. An operation? What the hell was he talking about? Huh? And then I realized I could hear muffled moans next to him. Hey, Ito, is that Yui's voice? What are you doing?
You know, I always wanted to be a doctor like Dr. Sakuma. Did you know that?
I said, what are you doing? Are we having another hallucination?
This knife I bought at the convenience store doesn't really cut that well. This is probably gonna hurt.
Ito, stop joking. Put Yui on the phone now.
Miyashiro, could you bring me a knife and some anesthesia real quick? Also, you got that saw thing that cuts bones? I'd feel bad using this on Yui.
Yeah. This is fucking crazy. He hung up. Yui? What's going on, Yui? I pushed the call button again and again with shaking fingers. But he must have turned off his phone because he didn't pick up. What's going on? Why is Ito... My mind couldn't keep up with this. It was too much to believe. Takare, what happened to Yui?
I heard what sounded like a scream.
Big brother Takare. I suddenly felt like I was about to throw up. I shoved my face into the sink and tossed up everything I had in my stomach. It was like I was vomiting up hate, fear, and despair, and no matter how much I tried, it wouldn't stop. Literally, like, this had better be a fucking hallucination, is all I have to say.
Are you okay, Takare?
When I'd thrown up so much that there wasn't even any stomach fluid left, I turned around to see Kurisu behind me. Kurisu, the phone, call Shinjo.
Huh?
Yui's going to be killed. We just said the magic words to her. I let Kurisu handle getting in touch with Shinjo and ran out the emergency exit to the dorm. Why are we going out alone? We're going to die if we go out alone. Yui, where are you? Answer me, Yui. My voice echoed down the rows of houses. Some nearby reporters ran over. What's wrong? Did something happen? Did someone just leave this way? Huh? A boy about my size and a girl a little younger. Did you see them? Oh, those two? I tried to interview them and they ignored me. Which way did they go? That way, I think. I ran in the direction he pointed to without stopping or looking behind me. Hey, you! I could hear them asking what happened, but I didn't have time to tell them. Yeah, we have the power of brotherly instinct. We are unstoppable currently. In theory. God, I hope we get her back. Like, oh. Yui, Ito, where are you? I ran, screaming the names of my little sister, my best friend. It hurt to breathe, but I couldn't stop running. My only thoughts as I ran were of Yui's safety and Ito's strange behavior. Ito, why? What are you doing? His tone had been the same as ever. It was the exact same tone he used when he was laughing about the latest weird school gossip. So why would he do that to Yui? It had to be some kind of mistake. Because Ito wouldn't... No, wait. And if there was another killer, they should have done something on the 23rd since Senri Minamizawa didn't, right? But nothing happened, which means it's impossible, I think. Let's just give up. I think it's hard on the vice president. That's when I gave up on the idea of there being another psychic. Ito used Kurusu to keep me from really having time to think. Then he took that important note down and threw it away. Then that was deliberate? The more I thought about it, the more unbelievable it seemed. Yui! Ito! How long had I been running? My throat was dry and it stung. I was gasping for breath and in dire need of water. Sweat was dripping off of me, and I was so out of breath that I couldn't think. Where am I? I looked around and saw that I was in a residential area of Shibuya that the reconstruction teams hadn't gotten around to yet. There were still a lot of abandoned houses. Even during the day, there was little foot traffic, and there were always rumors that at night you could see the vengeful ghosts of the people who died in the quake wandering beneath the streetlights. It wasn't that far from Awa Dorm, which meant that during my search, I must have circled back without knowing it. Just as I was about to turn around and head for Miyashita Park or Heikyo Academy, I heard a faint sound. A tiny noise like tearing cloth. Huh? I thought I might have imagined it, but forced my aching legs forward to look in the alley where I'd heard it. The lights didn't reach into the alley, so I could see nothing but darkness. I could hear the sound of water going drip, drip, drip. Some house's pipe must have broken. I took another step forward into the darkness as if I was being drawn by the sound. Huh? Suddenly, there were several sharp metallic clings at my feet. I quickly jumped back, surprised. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw that they were paring knives. And all of them were stained dark with something, their blades bent or broken in places. Oh no. Oh no. This knife I bought at the convenience store doesn't really cut that well. I felt something cold crawl up my back as I remembered Ito's words. Hey, Yui? Are you there? Yui? I took another step forward. There was what felt like a puddle of water at my feet, and I heard a splash. Oh no. Oh no, I don't want this. But there was no answer. I took another step forward. The splash got louder, and then I realized that the liquid was sticking to my shoe. I looked down and saw that my shoe was stained the same dark red color as the knives. This isn't just water? The wind must have changed course because the moment that I had that thought, I smelled something awful. I inhaled a full breath of the stench before I could cover my nose and mouth. Ugh. And then I looked towards the source of the smell. And when my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could see it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, please don't tell me Yui's in the boxes. What is this? It was the unpleasant but somehow seductive sweet smell of meat. I could see small boxes laid out in the rough shape of a human body. It looked like some kind of grotesque homemade doll. The dark red liquid was flowing from the boxes. I suddenly felt an urge to throw up. How long did it take me to realize that I was staring at what was left of my little sister? Because of that, it took me a little while to notice the man further down the alley staring at the pool of blood. Huh? You. Why? He was holding the murder weapon in his hand. It was dripping with blood. Oh. Wow, I fucking hate this. Why? Answer me, Ito. Ito hopped over what used to be Yui and spoke to me in the same pleasant tone he always used. Why? That's my question.
Why didn't you save her back then? Back then? Why did you abandon her? Abandon who? Who? Senni was suffering so much! Huh? Senni? Senni Minamisawa? Why was he saying her name? Why was Ito talking about Senni? Huh? Tell me, how did it feel to lose someone you cared about? How does it feel to have nothing but regrets and know how powerless you are? I felt nothing but confusion. What I was looking at didn't seem real. So I just stood there and stared at Ito's face, dumbstruck. She was everything to me, and you let her die. But now my revenge can be complete. Ito, you... What was the relationship between Senni Minamisawa and Ito? What happened between them? It didn't look like I'd have time to think about it. Ito's knife got steadily closer to me. Now it's your turn, Miyashiro. Did you bring that sharp knife and anesthetic? If not, it's gonna hurt bad, like it did for Yui. Ito smiled a murderous smile. Oh, so that's how it's going to be. For some reason, I'd lost the capacity to think clearly. That was the only thought that was left. I'm not even going to look like a person when he's done with me. Just like Yui. The feeling overwhelmed me. All I could do was stare into Ito's bloodshot eyes. Literally, I think maybe someone's got the power to, like, possess other people? Because I don't think this is Ito. I can't imagine that this is Ito. And wait for the moment of my death. Takare? And then, I heard what sounded like a scream behind me. It was enough to drag me back to my senses. Kurusu! I looked back and saw Kurusu standing under the streetlight, her shoulders heaving up and down. Ito, what are you doing? Yeah, I really hope so. I don't. Oh. I'm not liking this twist. Her eyes went wide at the knife in Ito's hands. No, stay back. He'll kill you too. Get away from here, Kurusu. I wanted to tell her to get away, but only meaningless noises came out of my mouth. It was like my vocal cords had been paralyzed. Answer me, Ito! Kurusu did the exact opposite of what I'd hoped she would. She ran into the alley, blocking my way out. And at the same time, she noticed the boxes filled with body parts and the stinking pool of blood. She gasped. What is this? Takare? Yui. What happened to Yui? Girl, why are you smiling? Tell me, where is Yui? I was finally able to speak, but I couldn't answer her question. It was pathetic, but tears started to well up in my eyes. I couldn't stop them. Ito answered for me, flipping the knife from one hand to another as he spoke. Be careful, Vice President. Step on one of those boxes and you won't be able to put Yui back together again. Kurusu jumped back and started to shake as she stared at the boxes. This can't be happening. She sank to her knees and reached out towards what used to be Yui, not caring that she'd be soaked with blood. This can't be happening. No. She picked up something long and thin. It had a pretty nail on it, one which had never been manicured even though its owner was old enough to be interested in makeup. It was Yui's finger. Come on, don't touch it. I put it all together artistically so Yui would look pretty. Why? Why? It's all Miyashiro's fault. This is revenge for how he made Senni Minamisawa suffer. Senni's revenge? That's right. It must have hurt worse for Senni. And even if she wanted to die from the pain of the experiment, she couldn't. Yui was lucky. She got to die quick. When I heard those words, something snapped inside me. The fog in my head cleared instantly, and my blood started to boil. You. It was a rage I couldn't control.
The next thing I knew, I'd leapt at Ito with my bare hands. I don't know, like, do I want to keep doing this voice for Ito? No, not really. But also, it's been his voice for so long, and I'm in distress. And I'm hoping that if I just keep doing the voice, this is all going to go back. And I'm not going to have to worry about whatever bullshit is happening. He pointed the knife straight at me as if he'd been waiting for this. I could tell it was pointed straight at my neck, at my carotid artery. If I'd been more calm, I would have known better than to jump on him without any defenses. But now I couldn't hold back my anger. He must have thought he had me because a cruel, thin smile formed on Ito's lips. I knew I was going to die. I hoped that Kurisu at least might be able to get away. The last thought that went through my head was, I'm sorry, Yui. We got you caught up in all this and you... If heaven was real, that was probably where Yui was going. But I knew without a doubt that I was going to hell. So I'd probably never see her again. Ah! Huh? But the moment of my death never came. Instead, I heard Kurisu scream. It was a violent sound, unlike anything I'd ever heard from her before. I looked in surprise and saw that she'd grabbed Ito from the side, and the two of them were rolling on the ground. Kurisu! I won't let you kill him! I won't let you kill Takare! The two of them were rolling around in Yui's blood. Stop it, Kurisu! Stop! He'll kill you! She didn't seem to hear me at all. She screamed like a wounded animal and tried to grab both of Ito's arms from behind. Her whole body was covered with Yui's blood, and each time she moved, her long hair flew up and sent dark red splashes everywhere. Ito tried to shake her off and punched her in the stomach. She moaned in pain when the impact hit her where she'd been stabbed before, but still she hung on desperately and refused to let go. You know who else we've seen punched in the stomach? Ito got punched in the stomach by Mio. Like, maybe I'm just grasping at straws here, but... And we saw it, she had a sword on her wall that we sat there and joked was a cosplay sword, but... I don't know. She moaned in pain when the impact hit her where she'd been stabbed before, but she still hung on desperately and refused to let go. You bastard! I leapt on top of Ito without even thinking. I grabbed the hand with the knife and smashed it into the ground with all my might. Ah! I don't know. I don't know if Mio was in love with Senri. She didn't seem to know who Senri was when we showed her the photo, but maybe, like... Maybe her power, like, gives her a split personality? I don't know. There was a dull snap as his fingers shattered, and the knife fell to the ground. I kicked it far away. Kurisu, that's enough! Get off of him! I put my full weight on Ito's back and pinned him to the ground. Let me go! Let me go! He was stronger than I thought, and he almost knocked me off, but I refused to let go. Are you okay, Kurisu? But she didn't seem able to answer my question. She sat down on the ground and tried to catch her breath. The shock seemed to have temporarily robbed her of the ability to breathe. Big tears fell from her eyes, and when she finally caught her breath, she started to sob. Vice President, if you want to blame somebody, blame Miyashiro. If he hadn't abandoned Senri back then, I would have never done this. Right, Miyashiro? This whole case was Miyashiro's fault. I was behind the whole thing. The entire point of the return of the New Generation Madness was to destroy him. How can you call yourself a right-sider when you couldn't even figure that out? Isn't that ironic, Miyashiro? That couldn't be true. People had died because of me. If I'd found the truth faster, Yui wouldn't have died. You're lying. Huh? Kurisu's voice was so soft I couldn't hear what she was saying. Huh?
Kurusu? You're lying. Everything you're saying is a lie, Ito.
What? Kurusu jerked her face upwards without bothering to hide her tears. She stood up enraged and screamed into the sky.
Who are you? Why did you make Ito do this? Whoever you are that's out there laughing at us, who are you?
Kurusu?
I know you're watching. Whoever did this to my sister, who are you?
Something red dripped down Kurusu's skirt. Was it Yui's blood, or had Kurusu's own injury opened again? What do you mean, Kurusu?
Ito never knew Senni. Somebody just made him think he did.
Huh? What are you talking about? I loved Senni, and this is my revenge.
That's a lie. I was with Senni all the time, and she never met you. So there's no reason you'd want revenge.
Don't be stupid. I loved Senni. That's what I'm doing this for her. I could tell that Ito's body was starting to shake underneath me. His teeth were chattering as if he was afraid of something.
That's another lie. Senni never knew you, so there's no way you could be in love with her.
No!
Ito?
Ito flailed about. Foamy bubbles were pouring from his mouth. His bloodshot eyes had rolled up into his head, and they were so swollen that they looked like they might burst out of their sockets. And...
Huh?
Uh-oh. Suddenly, blood started to pour out of both of his eyes. It wasn't Yui's. It was very clearly his own.
Ah, it hurts!
When I recoiled, he crawled out from under me and then curled up on the ground. He grabbed his head with his hands and started to spasm and flail around.
It hurts so much! My head's going to burst! Ah!
Ito!
Ito! Ah!
Ito tore at his head and finally started to bang it against the ground.
Stop it! No, Ito!
Kurusu and I grabbed him and tried to stop him. His forehead had split open, and the blood coming out of it mixed with the blood coming out of his eyes. It was impossible to even tell what he looked like now. But he shook us off and started to jerk and flail some more.
Let me go, Miyashiro! I'll make you pay for abandoning Senni! Because I loved... Senni? Who the hell is Senni? Senni Minamizawa? Right, she's the killer, the one who went after Miyashiro. Watch out, Miyashiro, she's going to come after you again. Senni hates you because you abandoned her. That's why I'm getting revenge. So it's your fault that Yui died. No, wait, is it mine? I did this to Yui? It was me?
Ito. Ito was shouting loudly, but he wasn't making any sense. It was as if what Kurusu had said was right, and someone was controlling his brain.
That was my... That's my guess, is that it's Kawahara, maybe.
Because there was only 3 of them that we know. And if he loved Senni... we know it's not Kurusu. Because she's standing here right now, and she, in theory, wouldn't do this to Yui. But, that's what I'm thinking is, maybe it's Kawahara. Maybe Kawahara has some sort of, connection in all of this. I don't know.
Wait, I did this to Yui? I always thought Yui was a good girl. She got along with Miyashiro so well, I was a little jealous. Yeah, I guess I killed her. For Senni. So, who's Senni again?
Suddenly, Ito's laughter cut off, and he froze like a toy whose batteries had run out. Then, all the strength drained from his body, and he collapsed. So, I think we need a hospital. Kurusu and I together couldn't support the full weight of an unconscious human, so we all fell to the ground. Neither of us could move for a while. We just lay there, holding Ito between us. And staring at the bloody boxes that held our sister.
Yui. Yui.
Kurusu started to cry like a little girl, but there was nothing I could say to her, because I felt like I was going to cry too, and it was all I could do to stop myself. I could hear many footsteps in the distance. It was either Shinjo and the police, or maybe the reporters around Alba Dorm. It is the media. Don't let them take pictures of Yui like this. Please. Please. I closed my eyes tight. I didn't want to see anything else. I didn't want to hear anything else.
That's no good, brother. Big Sis Nono is really still a little kid, so you need to support her, okay?
Was it her ghost, maybe? I could see Yui smiling gently when I closed my eyes. Chapter 9, Duel. I think we're going to end here for tonight. I'm fucking devastated. And... oh my god. I'm so mad. Yui. Ito. Like, is Ito still alive? I don't know. All right, next stream is Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Just as a heads up, we're going to do Thursday and Friday this week. Sunday will be on hiatus. So Sunday, the 16th through the 26th. So I think it's going to be a week and a couple of days. So I'll be traveling. So at the very least, we should get a stream on Friday before I leave for travel. So Lemur is planning on coming to the Thursday stream. So I don't think that she'll be she's in the middle of moving, so I may be doing a few solo streams as she continues to move. But in general, yeah. Back Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Come hang out with us. And then we'll be on Friday as well. And we'll be playing this because that'll be a solo stream. So, have a good night, all. Feel free to cry because I might do it. And have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.